The scene opens with a character looking at He Qingyang with a disapproving expression. He Qingyang, sensing the weight of their gaze, suddenly pauses. He's unsure of what's happening, as if something is off. Before he can fully process his thoughts, the woman he's with shoves him away, and he stumbles, falling to the ground and beginning to cough. Struggling to breathe, he wonders aloud, "A dream? Am I dreaming?" But the vividness of the moment makes him question it, as this dream feels startlingly real. As he clutches his head, pain throbs through his mind, and fragments of memories begin to flash before him. Before he can make sense of these images, he feels a chilling sensation against his neck, pulling him back into the moment. He overhears a nearby conversation referring to junior brother in a tone that carries both annoyance and reprimand. That person accuses him of persistently challenging her in a recent fight, even pinning her down. Confused, He Qingyang stammers, "I don't know," only to be met with more frustration from his accuser, who mocks him for his repeated losses and embarrassment. Then another voice cuts through, advising He Qingyang to give up on pursuing senior sister, as she clearly has no interest in him. The accuser mocks him for having lost twice in a row, accusing him of playing dumb out of embarrassment. He Qingyang retorts, "When did I even say I like senior sister?" This only worsens the tension, with the other person calling him shameless. Finally, the woman with sword intervenes, suggesting that there's no point in further argument. She urges her companion to leave, and with that, the two of them hop onto their swords, flying off into the sky and leaving He Qingyang behind. Left alone, He Qingyang is bewildered by what just happened. He can still feel the icy sensation of the sword against his neck and questions the reality of this world. As he sits with his confusion, he's overtaken by a fit of coughing, tasting blood and feeling dizzy. "Ning Yiwan?" he mutters, as a name suddenly pops into his head, triggering the realization that he recognizes this world. Slowly, it dawns on him. He has somehow transmigrated into the world of a game he used to play, Sword Immortal Legend. In the game, Ning Yiwan is the lead disciple of the powerful Liu Shui Peak, and He Qingyang now finds himself in the shoes of a minor NPC within the same sect. Worse still, he recalls that He Qingyang was doomed to a tragic fate in the game's storyline. Following a series of humiliating encounters, He Qingyang would eventually be exposed as a demon and killed by Ning Yiwan in a competition 6 months later. Frustration hits him. Why, of all characters, did he have to end up as the unlucky He Qingyang? Logically, he thinks he should have been transmigrated into the protagonist, Li Xiaoyao. Instead, he is stuck in the body of an NPC he barely paid attention to in the game. He regrets skipping all the NPC dialogues while playing. Because of this, he only remembers a vague outline of the plot and little about the specific details or side characters. Despite this disadvantage, he realizes that he still remembers the major events of the game, giving him a partial god's perspective. With this knowledge, he decides he might have a slim chance to survive and change the course of He Qingyang's fate. As he started down the path toward his assigned dormitory, another familiar voice called out to him, "Junior brother, hey, I've been looking for you everywhere." He Qingyang turned to see Liao Xin approaching, a smile on her face that he knew all too well from the game. Liao Xin had always appeared loyal and friendly towards He Qingyang, but he remembered her true nature. In the game, she was deeply devoted to Qin Shen. Liao Xin had been an expert at feigning kindness toward He Qingyang, only to drain him of his life essence at his lowest point, transferring it to Qin Shen to boost his cultivation. As she reached him, Liao Xin stumbled slightly, feigning a fall. "Junior brother, save me," she cried out, reaching toward him as if expecting him to catch her. But He Qingyang, remembering her deceitful nature, stepped aside just in time, letting her fall to the ground. She landed in the mud with a startled expression, her eyes narrowing in confusion and embarrassment. "Junior brother, why didn't you catch me? My clothes are ruined and my butt hurts." She put on a wounded expression, trying to draw sympathy. He forced a polite smile, keeping his distance. "Senior sister Liao, it wouldn't be proper for a man and woman to touch. I wouldn't want to damage your reputation," he said coolly, knowing full well that this was the exact response a strict and respectful sect disciple might give. He Qingyang nodded and excused himself, hurrying back to his dormitory where he could finally take a moment to think. At the dormitory, he mentally reviewed his options. According to the game's storyline, He Qingyang was currently an outer disciple of Liu Shui Peak, meaning he didn't yet have the authority or the power to leave the Sex Sky Realm barrier without permission. To escape, he'd need a mission token, which disciples could exchange for by completing tasks or gaining favor from elders. His goal was clear: get strong enough to survive any unexpected confrontations and gather the resources or allies needed to leave the Sky Realm as soon as possible. His need to escape was urgent. If he couldn't leave, Ning Yiwan, now at the third stage of the Condensing Veins realm, would likely end his life in half a year. She would continue her rapid climb and might even reach the peak of the Golden Core stage, while he would still be struggling in the Qi refining stage. By then, he would still be a weak NPC against a powerful cultivator. He sighed heavily. If he was going to survive, he had to find a way out of the Sky Realm before the upcoming competition. Having transmigrated into the world of thrilling adventures, he wanted to experience everything to its fullest, no matter the obstacles. In the midst of his thoughts, a voice called out, "Junior brother He." It was a familiar voice. He turned to see it was again senior sister Liao Xin approaching him. She commented, "Junior brother He, senior sister will never like you. I'm not less attractive than senior sister, so why can't it be me?" He Qingyang stood there, momentarily speechless, unable to find the right words. Her sudden approach and familiar greeting had caught him off guard, leaving him lost in thought. Suddenly she locked the door behind her with a soft click, moving towards him, each step deliberate, her gaze intense. He Qingyang's breath caught as she neared him, her gaze still holding that same intensity. "Why don't you let your senior sister comfort your wounded heart? Brother He, you know I like you." He Qingyang found himself caught off guard by her sudden confession. Something strange stirred inside him, a feeling he couldn't quite place. What's going on? Why do I suddenly want to get close to her? He wondered, confused. "Look, your body is also craving me," she murmured, her voice low and teasing. "It's not like that," he protested. But before he could move away, she pinned him down, her gaze intense and unyielding. "Junior brother," she whispered, "I want to." Hello Qingyang was feeling something unfamiliar. Her words lingered in his mind, heightening the tension in the air. "Junior brother, hey, hold me tight," she urged softly. When he was about to grab her, she looked at him with a glimmer of satisfaction, certain she had succeeded. "Just like that, come. I will take you to paradise." Suddenly, He Qingyang pushed her away, breaking the moment and leaving her stunned. She went flying across the room and fell hard to the floor, shock evident on her face. Power is constantly surging to my fingertips, he thought, feeling the unfamiliar energy coursing through him. Is this the world of cultivation? Memories flooded his mind. The original host of his body was no ordinary person, but a demon dog, who had only recently taken human form. As the first stage of the demon race's Starfire realm, he was on par with the foundation establishment stage of human cultivators. "Junior brother He, are you crazy?" she exclaimed, glaring up at him in disbelief. She couldn't reconcile the power she'd just felt with her image of He Qingyang as a weak disciple. How could He Qingyang, a so-called waste who hadn't broken through the first stage in 2 years, possibly hurt me, she wondered, feeling the sting of humiliation. I'm already at the peak of foundation establishment. He Qingyang looked at her with calm eyes, a new clarity evident in his gaze. "Sister Liao," he said coolly, "I already told you outside that I don't want to touch you, for fear of ruining your reputation." He glanced around his room. "Besides, this is my room. I originally closed the door, and you entered without my permission." She was momentarily speechless, stunned by his calmness and newfound confidence. "I have liked you for a long time," he added, his voice firm. Sister Liao's eyes narrowed. "Liked me for a long time, yet you use enchantment spells on me. Sister Liao." She froze, realization dawning on her. How, she thought, fear creeping into her gaze. How did he see through my illusion? But before she could recover, He Qingyang had already reached for the door. She scrambled, trying to compose herself. "What are you doing?" "Wait, my clothes," she gasped, noticing her disheveled appearance. Without another word, he kicked her out, shutting the door behind her. His voice was low and cold as he muttered, "Trying to suck my essence to benefit your lover? Do you take me for the naive fool that the original host was?" Qingyang felt a surge of understanding about his new form. "Although I don't quite remember the original host's backstory, I know one thing. The Demon Dog clan's essence blood is incredibly valuable, making cultivation much faster. No wonder she wanted it. The original host, he recalled, had willingly let himself become a waste, indifferent to cultivation. But now, with this new power coursing through him, Qingyang felt a fierce determination rising. He smirked, a flash of pride glinting in his eyes. Strangling the sin in the cradle, he thought, "I'm really something." At the forest behind the dormitory, safe, no one here. Although there is a barrier, that's a setting from the game. Maybe this world has long changed. If he could escape today, he would definitely flee without looking back. Qingyang's momentum was halted by an invisible barrier. Sigh, the Sky Realm was not a place one could just leave. Someone approved, "Hey Qingyang." "Hello Qingyang," Zheng Qingqing said, "outer disciple of the Liu Shui Peak. Do you want to leave the mountain?" "No, no, no," he replied quickly. "I was just taking a walk. I got tired, so I sat down to rest for a while." "Sister Zheng, did you just return from a mission?" "I received a message from the Chronicles saying that junior brother He actually challenged the lead disciple of Liu Shui Peak, Ning Yiwan." Zheng Qingqing responded with excitement. "This is big news. I had to rush back for a meeting to write about it. The new issue of the Chronicles is going to sell out." This news spread in just half a day. "I received a solo mission to leave the mountain, but on the way I heard this big news. I thought I had plenty of time for the mission, so I decided to return and write the article first. Didn't expect to run into you. You have to give me the inside scoop." Qingyang scratched his head, frustration written across his face. "I hit my head during the day. It's all a misunderstanding," he insisted. Zheng Qingqing, however, leaned closer, curiosity shining in her eyes. "Junior brother He, you don't really like Sister Ning, do you? Everyone outside is saying you're jealous of senior brother Qin, and that's why you're pestering Sister Ning. Is it true?" Qingyang shook his head, clearly flustered. "You don't have to overthink. I see Sister Ning's feelings for senior brother Qin are purely those of fellow disciples. How could I possibly like Sister Ning? Even though we're all part of the Sky Realm sect, there's still a mountain between us and Yanyang Peak. I've hardly even seen Sister Ning." Zheng Qingqing raised her brows, unconvinced. "Eh? But the last time you challenged her, you said you'd defeat her in the Sky Realm competition and make her your wife. I was there, I heard it with my own ears." Qingyang stammered, visibly embarrassed. I was drunk that day, talking nonsense." With a teasing smirk, Zheng Qingqing continued, "Sister Ning is now in the condensing veins stage and will surely reach the golden core stage in half a year. She is a true senior sister. Moreover, she received a title from the sect master and can no longer be called senior sister. She should be addressed as Lord Yuehua." Qingyang sighed in exasperation. "Qingyang, you are just a side NPC, yet you dared to challenge the main storyline NPC and want to marry her? How much fake wine did you drink?" Sensing her chance, Zheng Qingqing leaned in with a grin. "Junior brother. Hey, tell me, do you have a past history with Lord Yuehua? I'll trade 3 low-grade spirit stones for some gossip, okay?" Qingyang could only look away, realizing he'd fallen right into her trap for information. Qingyang suddenly seemed to remember something important. "Senior Sister Zheng, I just remembered that I left some medicinal soup brewing in my dorm. It's probably almost ready, so I'll be going now." Without waiting for a response, he turned and started running. "Junior brother, hey, wait," Zheng Qingqing called after him. "We're neighbors. Wouldn't it be better to go back together?" Qingyang slowed down, realizing there was no easy escape. He chuckled awkwardly. "Heh, I must have really hit my head hard today. Let's go together then." As they walked back, Qingyang couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Why couldn't I control my hand from pressing the spacebar to skip back then?" The regret in his voice hinted at choices he would have preferred to avoid. Zheng Qingqing glanced at him thoughtfully. "Actually, I think junior brother He has pure energy." As long as you train diligently and avoid laziness, in 3 years you'll have a chance to challenge Lord Yuehua. No need to rush this year. He Qingyang sighed, his expression clouded. Whether I can survive the next 6 months is still uncertain. Zheng Qingqing's gaze shifted slightly, her thoughts drifting. The Yuehua Dream Lotus in Lord Yuehua's hand was once a prize awarded by the sect master, she said, almost as if to herself. If junior brother ever has the chance to obtain a rare sword like the Solar Dragon Flame Sword, it would certainly benefit your cultivation. But I don't know where that sword is now. Thank you for the explanation, senior sister Zheng, He Qingyang replied quickly, but I really have no feelings for sister Ning. Lord Yuehua is beyond us, outer disciples. Zheng Qingqing raised an eyebrow, her tone teasing. That's not good. Lord Yuehua is the talk of the Sky Realm, and you have so many conflicts with her. I truly hope you and she can make some progress. Senior sister, please don't tease me, he protested, his cheeks flushing. She gave him a knowing look. By the way, you must have been trying to go down the mountain just now. You aren't tired at all, right? Did I guess correctly? He Qingyang sighed, knowing he'd been caught. I couldn't hide it from senior sister. She looked thoughtful. I remember you haven't taken any mission yet. If you complete 4 tasks, you can get a pass to go down the mountain and play freely. He Qingyang nodded. I was planning to go to the resource pavilion tomorrow to get a mission. But as he spoke, he noticed senior sister Zheng eyeing him curiously. Why is senior sister Zheng looking at me like that? You seem a bit different from before, she observed. You used to always make excuses whenever I persuaded you to take on tasks. Today you're so proactive. Is it? Panic flashed in her Qingyang's mind. Did she realize I'm not the original NPC? If I'm exposed, who knows what kind of punishment awaits me? Will I be struck by lightning? But then, Zheng Qingqing's grin turned playful. Could it be the power of love? She teased. He Qingyang was stunned at Zheng Qingqing's teasing. Quickly recovering, he laughed it off. Oh, I just felt that after being in the Sky Realm for 2 years, the older I get, the more I feel I can't waste time anymore. They arrived at the dormitory area. Zheng Qingqing nodded approvingly. It's good that junior brother He thinks this way. If you recall any old grudges and feelings with Lord Yuehua, remember to tell me first. Okay, he replied, forcing a smile. Zheng chuckled, already envisioning her next article. With my spring and autumn writing style, I'll definitely produce a blockbuster issue of the Chronicles. Spring and autumn style doesn't sound anything positive, He Qingyang thought, feeling slightly wary. Forget it, it's already dark. I'll make plans tomorrow. But suddenly he felt a strange sensation, and before he realized it, his form changed. He looked down in horror. Oh no, I forgot the original host was a demon dog in the early stage of human transformation. I might revert to animal form at night. He tried to speak, but only a pitiful whimper came out. Why does it have to be now? My voice! I can't speak human words either. Ah, this is so unlucky, fear gnawed at him. The Sky Realm is a cultivator's territory. Most of the cultivators hate demons and devils to the bone. If they find out I'm a demon dog, they'll definitely skin me and eat dog meat. His stomach growled, reminding him he hadn't eaten since arriving in this world. So hungry. Just then he heard footsteps behind him. A voice spoke, clear and calm. A spirit beast. He froze. This voice. Oh no, it's Lord Yuehua. Ning Yiwan. She examined him curiously. Are you a spirit beast belonging to one of the disciples? Without a binding charm, you must be a masterless spirit beast. Her gaze swept the dormitory area. This is the disciples' dormitory. If you're masterless, don't trespass here. I'm really done for, He Qingyang thought, despair creeping in. Ning Yiwan's expression softened as she noticed his hungry look and the clothes scattered at the doorway. Which junior brother's dormitory is this? How could they throw clothes at the door? She then knelt down, extending a hand toward him. Are you hungry? Come to my place, I'll give you something to eat. So pitiful. He caught a whiff of her, and his mouth watered. Smells so good. I really want to take a bite. It must be delicious, right? But a new thought dawned on him, shocking him. Ning Yiwan has the Jade Spirit constitution, which naturally attracts demons. If I absorb even a little of her essence, it would greatly benefit my cultivation. He shook his head, horrified. No, I can't. What am I even thinking? Ning Yiwan smiled gently at his hesitation. What's wrong, little puppy? She called me little puppy? Qingyang's mind spun. Is this really the same person? Don't be afraid, she said softly, reaching out to pat his head. Sister will protect you. At the dormitory, Ning Yiwan looked down at the little demon dog that was Qingyang's current form, a warm smile softening her expression. Master instructed me to deliver something to Uncle on Liushui Peak, and I happened to meet you, little puppy. She picked him up, her gaze kind. You look quite pleasing to my eyes. Qingyang, trapped in his furry form, could only stare helplessly as she gently placed him down. Let me wipe your little paws. My little paws, he thought, feeling both mortified and strangely touched as she took one of his paws in her hand. With delicate care, she wiped away the dirt, her fingers warm and gentle as they smoothed over his fur. He looked up at her with wide eyes, unable to hide his gratitude even as his embarrassment grew. You are such a dirty little puppy, Ning Yiwan murmured with a chuckle. She examined him thoughtfully. I don't recall ever seeing a canine spirit beast in the sky realm. Are you a baby who recently wandered into this place? Qingyang's mind spun. What the heck is going on? Why does Ning Yiwan seem so different from her game setting? And why is she calling me a baby? Suddenly, Ning Yiwan spoke again, her tone reflective. Today, junior brother, he challenged me again, and as expected, he lost. She shook her head with a small smile. He's such a strange person. Everyone says he likes me, but I don't think so. Why is she suddenly talking about me? Qingyang wondered, feeling increasingly flustered as he listened to her musings. She sighed softly. Actually, I don't dislike junior brother he, but never mind, you are just a baby. You wouldn't understand. This is so embarrassing, he thought, desperately wishing he could sink into the ground. My whole body is exposed in front of Ning Yiwan. Qingyang's heart raced as Ning Yiwan spoke in a gentle, teasing tone. I didn't expect you to be shy. You are quite an innocent baby. She smiled warmly, clearly enjoying his discomfort. Tonight, I will let you sleep with me. Sleep with you? His mind reeled at the suggestion, panic setting in. Ah, Ning Yiwan really likes small animals. She often used to catch spirit beasts to sleep with her. What should I do? Do I really have to sleep with her? He couldn't deny that the idea of spending the night so close to her was both tempting and terrifying. Any spirit beast would be reluctant to leave Ning Yiwan's side. Just inhaling a few whiffs of her spirit jade body fragrance could extend their life. If I suddenly run away, wouldn't that be too suspicious? He lay stiff in her arms, trying to control his emotions. As she gently settled down in bed, Qingyang's eyes widened in sudden realization. Don't take it off, he thought desperately as she began removing her outer layers. Phew, luckily she's sleeping in her underwear. That was too dangerous. He let out a quiet, silent sigh of relief, though the situation was still overwhelming. Ning Yiwan smiled and adjusted her position, wrapping her arms around him. Baby, let's go to sleep. Her soft voice and warmth enveloped him, making it difficult for him to think clearly. She pulled him close, her head resting on his tiny body. He felt her warmth against him as she nestled in, and a strange sense of calm washed over her. Devil, how can I possibly sleep? He cursed inwardly, his thoughts clouded by the overwhelming softness and the intoxicating fragrance of her spirit jade body, which only grew stronger as she removed more clothing. It's so soft. After taking off her clothes, the fragrance is even stronger. I really can't hold it in. But in his current form, there was nothing he could do. But now I'm just a little dog who can't speak or do anything. Damn it, I can't do anything. As he lay there, helpless, he glanced at her face, wondering if she had fallen asleep yet. Is she asleep? He wondered, his heart pounding as he tried to remain as still as possible, uncertain about what would happen next. As she drifted deeper into sleep, her grip loosened, and the little dog carefully wriggled out of her embrace. She murmured, "Baby, don't move around," which made the dog's ears perk up. He tilted his head, startled by her voice. Unsure if she was awake or merely dreaming, he stood perfectly still, his little heart racing, waiting to see if she would wake up. He then exclaimed, "My legs are numb," and suggested, "Let's climb out the window. That way there won't be any noise from the door." He seemed to conclude that Lord Yuehua wasn't so scary after all. The next day, at the Resources Pavilion, all eyes followed him as whispers spread, "Isn't that the disciple from Layushi Peak who challenged Lord Yuehua yesterday?" Someone else commented, "I heard he's jealous of senior brother Chin, afraid that Lord Yuehua would run away with him." Another added, "Senior brother Chin is the chief disciple of Liushi Peak. How can he Qingyang compare to him?" There was also talk about how he was obsessed with Lord Yuehua and always causing her trouble. "I wonder if he's sick." He then interrupted, "Stop whispering, I can hear everything." Approaching the elder, he said, "Elder, I'm here to accept a low-level mission." The elder responded, "All the mission plaques for this month have already been assigned." "You are late." Qingyang replied, "Huh? But I'm in a bit of a hurry." The elder noticed his urgency and responded, "Oh, you are in a hurry." He then removed a plaque from his desk and showed it to him. "I have one mission left. The reward is only 2 points. So many disciples don't want to take it. Do you want it?" The elder observed that many disciples were unwilling to accept such a low-reward mission and asked again, "Will you accept it?" The elder continued explaining the requirements. "If you accept it, please register here." He added that the mission time would begin as soon as he left the mountain. "If you don't complete it in a week, you won't be able to accept another mission for 2 months. Determined, he replied, "Then please help me register the mission. I will take it." At the resource pavilion, He Qingyang opened his pouch and removed several stones he'd collected along the way. Inside were only 12 low-grade spirit stones, a clear indication of his poor financial state. The original owner of these possessions, as He Qingyang realized, was really poor. He thought to himself with a hint of disbelief, "NPC bro, your cultivation isn't great, and you don't have enough money either. Why did you even come to the Sky Realm?" As memories began to resurface, he vaguely remembered that the original owner came from a fairly notable background. Something about being part of a prominent demon dog clan. Yet here he was, barely scraping by. How did someone from a good family end up this poor? Just as He Qingyang was absorbed in these thoughts, a sudden shout startled him from behind. "Junior brother He!" Turning around, he saw it was senior sister Zheng Qingqing calling out to him. "Junior brother He, I heard you have already taken a mission," she exclaimed. He Qingyang responded, "Yes, I took it not long ago, and the elder gave me a one-time permission to leave the mountain." She continued excitedly, "Actually, I heard that Lord Yuehua just took a mission to leave the mountain as well. And I heard your mission location is quite close. Did you do this on purpose?" He quickly clarified, "It was just a mission that no one wanted, which the elder gave me." Pure coincidence. Her eyes widened in surprise as she looked at his small stash of stones. "Wow, really? You are down to this little money?" He admitted with a sigh, "Yes, that's all I have left." Encouraging him, she pointed out, "As long as you complete the low-level mission, the 2 points can be exchanged for 10 medium-grade spirit stones." 10 medium-grade spirit stones, isn't that equivalent to 300 taels of silver? She also tells him about the worth of his potential earnings. If he were in a different region, it could be worth even more silver. Senior sister Zheng Qingqing, after giving him this good news, teased, "Since I have given you this good news, you must tell me all about your romantic adventures with Lord Yuehua when you get back." She added with a smirk, "And if you ever become dual cultivation partners with Lord Yuehua, I'll be famous in the Sky Realm as well." After all, Lord Yuehua was considered a top choice for dual cultivation. With a cheerful farewell, she said, "See you later, junior brother He." He responded, "Goodbye, senior sister." He sighed to himself, "Sigh. Dual cultivating with her? I'd die even faster." The next morning, in the forest behind the dormitory, He Qingyang murmured to himself, 12 low-grade spirit stones, mid-starfire stage, God's perspective. And that's it. He looked at his meager resources and sighed, "With only this little on me, I can't even think about escaping from the vast sky realm. I will starve in a week," he realized. "I need to figure out how to increase money and cultivation." He thought, otherwise, when it's time to escape, I will be caught off guard and something will go wrong. Reflecting on his situation, he lamented, I was just playing a game at home. And out of nowhere, I ended up in this world. The protagonist had found himself in the body of an unlucky NPC with no special abilities, wondering if his fate in this world was to become a joke. Yet, after some thought, he concluded that this wasn't the worst start for a transmigration. Embrace destiny and just go for it, he reminded himself. He had already been walking for 2 hours and decided to stop and refill his water supply from the nearby pond. As he approached the pond, he saw someone behind a stone taking a bath. Suddenly, the person turned and, startled, asked, "Who's there?" before letting out a scream. It was senior sister Liao Xin. The protagonist instantly regretted not running straight down the mountain. He realized with some discomfort that the pond water had probably turned into bath water by now. Liao Xin, clearly surprised but not overly concerned, spoke up. "Junior brother, did you come to find me?" He nervously replied, "I was just passing by and stopped for a drink. If I had known you were here, I could have taken a detour." Liao Xin smiled mischievously, seeming to enjoy the situation. "How coincidental, it's just the two of us here. Please don't be shy." The protagonist felt uneasy as Liao Xin's teasing words hung in the air. "Heh, clearly you came for me. It would be such a pity if you didn't give your life essence to senior brother Qin." The protagonist, trying to stay calm and focused on his task, quickly responded, "I need to hurry down the mountain to complete a task, senior sister Liao. You can continue your bath." Liao Xin approached junior brother He from behind, hugging him and pleading, "Junior brother He, don't go. You used to be much kinder to me. Who made you angry? If it's me, please tell me. What did I do wrong?" Junior brother He, however, responded coldly, asking, "Senior sister Liao, are you a pervert?" Shocked and embarrassed, Liao Xin fell to the ground, her cheeks burning as his words echoed in her mind. "Are you a pervert?" The shock left her paralyzed, wide-eyed and speechless. Determined to express her feelings, Liao Xin said, "Junior brother He, I have true feelings for you." "Why? Why do you insult me like this?" But junior brother He dismissed her, saying, "Senior sister Liao, you should focus your attention on senior brother Qin." "Bye-bye." Liao Xin began to question the situation, thinking to herself, "Has this guy realized something? Lately, he's been deliberately avoiding me. It can't be. He clearly used to enjoy my advances." Unbeknownst to them, He Qingyang and Liao Xin were being watched from a distance, hidden on a tree. The observer, upon getting down, reported, "This He Qingyang is really strange. He claims to admire you, but I also hear he's in a close relationship with this Liao Xin." The observer continued, "Just now, Liao Xin showered her affection and he called her a pervert. I can't figure out what's going on with him." Ning Yiwan, another observer, advised, "Junior brother Li, it's better not to comment on others' matters." To this, the observer replied, "Yes, senior sister, I spoke too much." The conversation shifted as the observer cautioned Ning Yiwan about an impending threat. He said, "Senior sister, the demonic forces have been on the rise again recently. Your task this time also involves the demonic forces, so please be extra careful." Turning to junior brother Li, she reminded him, "Junior brother Li, your task is not easy either." With that, she proceeded to leave, stepping out of the protective barrier. Before parting, she informed him, "Junior brother Li, we part ways here. I need to head north to Zhueyao County." In response, junior brother Li offered her his well wishes, saying, "May you return victorious, senior sister Ning." He Qingyang stood in front of the barrier, trying out the token that the elder had given him for his mission. With the token in hand, he passed through the barrier successfully. He exclaimed, "It really works." He couldn't help but think, it's a pity that this single-use token also has a recall function. If I exceed the mission's time limit, I will be forcibly sent back to the Sky Realm. Otherwise, I would have considered escaping this time. Arriving at Zhueyao County, he realized it was quite close, just half a day's journey away. Zhueyao County was located 10 kilometers north of the Sky Realm. It was a prosperous small town nestled between mountains and rivers. He observed that although the items sold here were ones he had seen in the game, actually seeing them in real life felt very peculiar. He thought back to how before these things were like static images, uninteractive, and most vendor NPCs couldn't even engage in conversation. Now hearing their laughter and banter added a unique flavor to the experience. Noticing his lack of equipment, he recalled, the original owner didn't even hold a decent weapon. He felt uneasy, considering that this mission, also known as the dry corpse case, might require a weapon. He decided, all right, let's take a look, and walked towards a weapon shop. A girl looked at him and asked, Sir, what kind of weapon are you looking to buy? Our shop has everything, from secret hidden weapons to great axes, she added. He replied, I'm a sword cultivator, so I should buy a suitable sword even though I don't know how to use one. Qingyang looked towards a sword and asked the shopkeeper, How much for this iron sword? The shopkeeper responded, You have a good eye, sir. This sword can cut through iron like mud, perfect for self-defense. It's only 10 taels of silver. Qingyang replied, I don't have any silver on me. Can I pay with lower-grade spirit stones? The shopkeeper informed him, There's a pawn shop nearby. Both spirit stones and silver can be used as currency. She added, If you convert it into lower-grade spirit stones, 3 will be enough. Qingyang handed over 3 lower-grade spirit stones, feeling a bit of pain at parting with his spirit stones. The shopkeeper said, Thank you for the purchase. Qingyang then mentioned, By the way, shopkeeper, I'm actually a disciple from Liu Shui Peak in the Sky Realm. I'd like to ask you about the Firewater House. The shopkeeper responded with surprise, Oh, an immortal cultivator. I have indeed heard some things about Flower-Water House. The shopkeeper leaned closer to him and said, Flower-Water House is the largest brothel in the area. Recently, many men have been carried out completely drained and dying in a horrifying way. The authorities had questioned the girls in the house and even called in the dragon flying division to identify them. They were all human. However, there was still suspicion about how these human girls could drain men dry, suggesting that something unusual might be happening. Qingyang expressed his gratitude to the shopkeeper for the information and stated, Thank you for the information, shopkeeper. I will head to Flower-Water House right away. The shopkeeper encouraged him, saying, If you are a cultivator from the Sky Realm, I believe you will find something. As Qingyang was leaving, the shopkeeper pleaded, Immortal cultivator, please rid us of this evil. Qingyang arrived at the Flower-Water House. He observed that it was unusually empty. The dry corpse case seemed to have significantly affected business, as this place would usually be full of activity on a regular day. Someone descending the stairs voiced their frustration, saying, At this rate, I will have to close down in less than 3 months. Sigh. They continued, Damn it, there are plenty of men out there. Why come to my Flower-Water House and target mine? The woman noticed Qingyang and exclaimed, Ah, a customer. She hurried over to him, enthusiastically offering, Oh, young master, what would you like to drink, eat, or which girl would you like? A massage? Listen to a tune? Or maybe some games? Our girls can do it all. Qingyang thought to himself that this madam must have been desperate for business lately. He introduced himself saying, I am a disciple of Luishi Peak from the Sky Realm, here to exterminate evil and uphold justice. As he spoke, he thought privately that saying such words made him feel 10 feet tall, feeling heroic. The madam then started crying and said, My life is so miserable, O immortal master. You have no idea how much I have suffered. She hugged him and added, I have been praying for a hero day and night, and finally, you have arrived. Qingyang reassured her, saying, Madam, don't worry. First, tell me about the case. The madam began explaining, 2 months ago, a male guest was found dead in one of the girls' beds, which terrified our girls. We initially thought he had indulged excessively, but since then, every 3 days, another male guest has died. Those guests' kidneys were all gouged out. It's really frightening. Qingyang thought to himself, what the actual fuck, is this a kidney harvesting case? The madam continued, Originally, I reported this to the officials. As you know, Immortal Master, Flower-Water House operates in a grey area between the authorities and the Dragon Flying Office. After several days of surveillance, they felt that the deaths were related to Flower Waterhouse itself, so they couldn't be bothered and left me to settle privately with the family. I lost quite a bit of silver. With no other choice, the madam explained that she could only send a desperate message for help to the immortal masters of the sky realm, hoping they would come to her aid. She lamented, "My life is so miserable," clearly overwhelmed by her situation. Qingyang began analyzing the situation, thinking to himself that in this era there was no known surgery for organ transplants. This meant that the thief taking the kidneys had to be either a cultivator with mystical abilities or some sort of demonic creature. He wondered, but why would they target the kidneys? Usually, if someone were harvesting organs, they'd go for the heart, right? He speculated that maybe this demonic creature was specifically in need of kidneys and had a shortage of them. He also considered another possibility, wondering if the thief might have a particular weakness or lack in that area. He concluded that if it was just a demonic creature that targeted kidneys, then it shouldn't be too powerful. As long as it wasn't beyond the Foundation establishment stage, he believed he should be able to handle it with ease. After all, this is just a low-level task, he thought, reassuring himself. Turning to the madam, he asked, "When was the last incident?" She replied, "It was the day before yesterday. So tomorrow we are likely to face another death at our Flower Waterhouse." Her voice trembled at the thought of the impending doom. In a desperate plea, she grabbed Qingyang's arm, placing it between her hands against her chest, and said, "My life is so miserable. Immortal Master, you must help me. Save Flower Waterhouse," she begged, her desperation evident. Qingyang responded confidently, "I will do everything in my power." Just then, someone else came downstairs and said, "Madam, didn't I ask you to get me some bird's nest from Wang the shopkeeper's place? It's been several days. Why haven't you brought them to me?" Madam, keeping her composure, replied, "Lianga, business has been so bad lately. You've had only 3 or 4 customers in total, not enough to cover the cost of the bird's nest. Hold a little longer. Once the immortal master resolves the case, I will find someone to buy them for you." Lianga sighed, glancing at He Qingyang and murmured, "Oh, immortal master." With a reluctant nod, she added, "Then I will wait a few more days," before turning and leaving. Madam watched her go, then turned to He Qingyang. "Lianga is one of the top girls here, usually pampered and spoiled. With the monthly income reduced these days, it's understandable she's in a bad mood. Immortal Master, please don't mind her." He Qingyang remained calm, replying, "No problem." After a brief pause, he continued, "By the way, could you prepare a guest room for me, madam?" "Just a regular one. I need some time to think about what to do. Tonight I will observe the layout of the Flower Waterhouse closely to ensure everything goes smoothly." Madam's face brightened, and she nodded eagerly. All right, all right. Immortal Master, follow me, and I will take you to a guest room." Nearly all the rooms occupied by the girls had recently seen tragic deaths, with only Lianga's room spared from any incidents. The dark events cast a shadow over the place, and it was no wonder Lianga was in a poor mood. Noticing her distress, He Qingyang inquired, "Which one is Lianga's room?" The madam guided him through the dimly lit hallway, finally stopping outside a modest room. She gestured toward it, saying, "This is it." He Qingyang looked at the door thoughtfully before responding, "Tonight I'll stay in the guest room. Tomorrow morning I'll switch to Miss Lianga's room." In front of Lianga's room, Madam knocked on the door and asked if Lianga was inside. Lianga responded, explaining that she was about to go to bed, and asked what was going on. Madam informed her that the next morning the immortal master would be switching rooms with her for a temporary period, and she would need to move out after she woke up. He Qingyang expressed his gratitude for the arrangement. Lianga, however, was skeptical. She questioned why a man needed to take over a lady's room, feeling that the situation seemed odd. Qingyang reassured her, explaining that he was concerned for her safety due to the presence of a possible culprit who might harm her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have suggested the room swap. Relenting, Lianga remarked that Qingyang was quite pleasing to the eye, and since he looked good, she didn't mind letting him stay temporarily. However, Madam quickly intervened, reminding Lianga to show respect, emphasizing that the immortal master was not like other men. As Lianga left the room, she acknowledged Madam's advice, saying, "Got it." Madam then apologized to the immortal master for Lianga's casual attitude, explaining that girls from places like this could be tactless. Qingyang reassured her that it was no problem. They both entered the room, and Madam showed the immortal master his temporary quarters, noting that it offered the best location with a full view of the first floor. Madam took hold of her Qingyang's hand and expressed her worry, telling him that her life and livelihood were in his hands. She was concerned that if another murder occurred, even her few remaining customers would flee. He Qingyang reassured her, promising to do his best to help. Afterward, He Qingyang told Madam he needed to prepare, and he gently sent her out of the room. Once alone, he sat down, sighed, and reflected on his situation. He recalled that in the game world, the brothel had a similar side quest, but since the rewards weren't great, he had chosen to skip it. Now he regretted that decision and thought to himself that if he could return to his original world, he would never skip any quests again. As he prepared for the night, He Qingyang decided to cultivate and carefully review the original owner's cultivation techniques. He hoped that the culprit wouldn't be too difficult to handle, although he noted that this low-level task was only worth 2 points, which suggested it might not be very dangerous. Nonetheless, he reminded himself to stay cautious. He reflected on what he had read in a book. After reaching the foundation establishment stage, one could gather spiritual energy at the forehead, enabling them to perceive the spirit of all things. With continued cultivation, one's perception and control over all things would strengthen. Although He Qingyang was at the Starfire stage, equivalent to the human foundation establishment stage, he believed he should be able to cultivate further using these techniques. He tried out the technique to see if it would work, and soon discovered it did. He could sense the energy flowing through him, confirming the technique's effectiveness. This newfound ability fascinated him. Cultivation is so interesting, he thought. Why did the original owner neglect his training? If the previous owner of his body had put in more effort, He Qingyang might already have reached the third realm by now. It felt like a waste of the Demon Dog clan's talent. Motivated by this thought, He Qingyang started reading and memorizing the techniques in earnest. After committing the material to memory, he proceeded with martial arts practice, determined to improve himself. I have pretty much memorized the first 3 chapters of this technique, he reflected, feeling a sense of accomplishment. He planned to return to Liu Shui Peak to borrow more techniques from the library, eager to continue his studies. Suddenly, without warning, he transformed into the form of the demon dog. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered, "Here it comes again." After a long day of traveling, he reassured himself, "Never mind. I have been traveling all day long, so I better get a good night's rest to work well tomorrow." With that thought, he soon fell into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, in another location, Ning Yuan was being chased, and as she ran, she said, "Whether I run or not, it's a dead end either way." The pursuer laughed mockingly, taunting her. "You fell for it without knowing. Lord Yuehua is just an empty name," he sneered, confident in his approach. When they finally closed in on her and were about to catch her, they ominously declared, "Ning Yuan, tonight your spirit jade body will belong to us." Ning Yuan suddenly stops and pulls out her moon-water silk sword. With precise martial arts techniques, she attacks her pursuers, swiftly knocking most of them out. As she stands among the defeated, one remaining pursuer approaches her, pleading, "Immortal lady, please spare us. We were wrong." But Ning Yuan, showing no mercy, quickly eliminates them all in one final strike. She declares to the last one, "Demon, you are already dead." Ning Yuan stepped onto her sword and flew towards Zuoyao County at a high speed. Inside the Flower Water Pavilion, Lianga asked He Qingyang about his plan to catch the culprit. He Qingyang replied that his strategy was a secret for now. Lianga pointed out that the culprit had been stealing men's kidneys and asked if He Qingyang was afraid. Lianga thanked He Qingyang for his help as she was preparing to leave. Later, He Qingyang entered Lianga's room and noted that the decorations were quite ordinary, which was unexpected. While there, he overheard someone saying that they did not serve female customers. This piqued his curiosity, and he wondered why a woman would be visiting the Flower Water House. Investigating further, he was shocked to see Ning Yuan there and thought to himself, wondering why she was present instead of being on her own mission. Ning Yuan, meanwhile, spoke to the madam of the house, noting that there were barely any male guests left. She asked the madam if she would really turn away a guest who was bringing in money. The madam's eyes began to shine with interest upon hearing this. The madam agreed with Ning Yuan and asked if she would be staying for a meal or overnight. Ning Yuan replied that she would be staying for one night. Ning Yuan sensed a faint demonic aura within the flower house. She noted that fortunately, the aura wasn't accompanied by the smell of blood, indicating it was likely a small demon that hadn't committed any evil deeds yet. Meanwhile, her Qingyang was observing Madame and Ning Yuan from inside a nearby room. He overheard Ning Yuan asking Madame who was staying in the room. Madame responded, saying it was just one of the girls from the flower house. In her thoughts, Madame remembered the immortal master advising her not to reveal too much about his mission to unrelated people, to prevent any information leaks. Ning Yuan warned Madame to be extra cautious, as demonic and evil forces had recently become more active than usual. She advised Madame to be wary of allowing any suspicious individuals into her home. He Qingyang then thought to himself, realizing that Ning Yuan's spirit jade physique in the game was designed to detect the presence of demons and evil spirits. In the Sky Realm, it was generally safe, as the mountains there were filled with spirit beasts. The aura of spirit beasts was similar to that of demons, but only the weaker ones wouldn't be detected by cultivators. Now that Qingyang had ventured into the outside world, he realized that the difference between human and demon auras was too obvious, making his presence easily detectable. He understood the need to conceal his demon dog aura. Otherwise, Ning Yuan would eventually discover him when he returned to the Sky Realm. In the game world, Ning Yuan was relentless, mercilessly eliminating any demon or evil spirit she encountered. As midnight approached, Qingyang remembered what the madam had said, that the timing was right and the killer demon should soon appear. He then heard someone screaming for help. Rushing outside, he found that it was Lianga who was in trouble, struggling against a mysterious attacker. Lianga pleaded for the attacker to let go of her, and the culprit was surprised to see Qingyang staying in the same room. Acting quickly, Qingyang got behind the culprit and demanded that he release Lianga. In one swift move, he struck the attacker's head, separating him from Lianga. Reflecting on the encounter, Qingyang felt relieved that the original owner of his body possessed demon dog blood, which gave him a few useful self-defense skills. Thanks to a quick review of these skills the previous night, he managed to dodge the attack, a feat that would have been challenging otherwise. As the culprit spotted Qingyang, he cursed, exclaiming, "Damn it! It's a cultivator!" Realizing the danger, the culprit turned and fled. Seeing this, Qingyang quickly told Lianga to start yelling for help loudly, while he would chase after the fleeing culprit. Lianga agreed, responding, "Yes, all right." Following Qingyang's instructions, Lianga began shouting, "Help! Help!" Her cries caught the attention of Ning Yuan, who approached her and asked with concern, "What happened? What's going on?" In a weak voice, Lianga informed Ning Yuan that the immortal master had gone after the culprit, and then fainted from the ordeal. This made Ning Yuan pause and think, wondering to herself, "Immortal master? Has someone else already taken on this low-level task?" Her Qingyang, while chasing down a fleeing culprit, yelled, demanding him to stop and warning that he couldn't escape. Suddenly, the culprit darted into a dark alley and disappeared. Qingyang noted to himself that the culprit was incredibly fast, disappearing in an instant. Reflecting on the brief fight and the culprit's quick escape, Qingyang judged that the culprit's cultivation level was likely close to the peak of the Foundation establishment stage, possibly even at the early stage of the vein condensation stage. This realization worried him, as he thought, "This isn't good for me." Qingyang knew that if he allowed this person to escape, he'd have to wait another 3 days to try again. He wondered if the culprit would even return to the flowery waterhouse after this encounter. Considering the situation further, he remembered that his mission had already lasted 2 days, with only 5 days left. If he failed to complete the mission within that time, he'd be forcibly returned to the Sky Realm. There, he would likely have to accept the fate arranged for him as an NPC and meet his end at the hands of Ning Yuan's sword. Just then, someone approached him from behind, addressing him as Young Master He and asking why he wasn't going in. Startled, Qing Yang immediately took a defensive stance. The person questioned what was wrong and asked, Young Master He, what are you doing? Qing Yang responded by asking if the person was a fox demon and whether she wasn't afraid of him. The fox demon replied, seemingly amused, Young Master He, why? Why should I be afraid of you? Qing Yang, slightly surprised, responded to the fox demon saying, Oh, it's nothing. You called me Young Master He. Do you know me? The fox demon laughed and replied, teasing him, Young Master, he is playing games with me again. This is still the human realm. Let's head into the demon market first. They both entered through a barrier, and upon entering, Qing Yang noticed many demons inside the city. Curious, he asked the fox demon, Miss, do you really know me? She responded, Young Master He, please stop joking with me. Everyone here knows who you are. As they continued moving, they entered a pavilion. While walking, the fox demon explained, 2 years ago, your aunt asked me to forge a set of demon-locking chains for you. The payment was made, but you disappeared. I didn't expect to run into you today at the entrance to the demon market. Once inside the pavilion, Qing Yang saw 3 cute little fox demons. They rushed toward him, embracing him, and said, Young Master He, where have you been these past 2 years? We have kept the items you requested safe and sound. One of the fox demons then suggested, Master, why don't you take all 4 of us sisters home with you? Qing Yang thought to himself, what's going on here? Wow, this NPC actually has such a backstory. The fox demon then explained that the demon-locking chains could suppress demon aura and that only a cultivator at the grand perfection stage might be able to sense it. The fox demon scolded the 3 little fox demons, telling them to return to the counter and work properly, asking, what kind of behavior is this? The 3 little fox demons obediently replied, Okay. Qing Yang realized, this is exactly what I need right now. It's like my wish came true. He then asked aloud, so I really paid for this? I can take it, the fox demon clarified. Actually, Young Master He, you don't need to pay to take anything from our pavilion. The He family is a great benefactor to the Ding family. Reflecting on this, Qing Yang thought, they said I disappeared 2 years ago. It was likely caused by being unable to leave the Sky Realm after entering it. He decided, for now, I will just go along with what the fox demon sisters are saying. If the fact that I took over this body is exposed, who knows what kind of trouble it might bring. Finally, Qing Yang mentioned, I actually want to buy some pills, but I only have a few low-level spirit stones left. The fox demon looked at Qing Yang and said, spirit stones aren't worth much in the demon market. Since you often mingle among humans, young master, you must have some human items with you. Those things are very valuable here. Qing Yang thought for a moment, then replied, Speaking of human items, all I have is this pouch. He patted the small bag at his waist, wondering if it would be enough. The fox demon nodded approvingly. That might just do. The pill shop is outside, a roadside stall run by a chubby little medicine spirit. Qing Yang nodded in acknowledgement. I'll go buy some pills then. See you later. Qing Yang began searching for the pill shop. After some time, he spotted a stall and thought to himself, that stall over there should be the pill shop. Approaching the shop, he called out, Is anyone there? A voice responded, Sir, I'm here. Qing Yang looked at the source of the voice and asked in surprise, You're the boss? The medicine spirit replied, Correct, sir. What would you like to buy? Qing Yang held out a pouch and said, I'd like to exchange this pouch for some pills. Something that can treat and heal if you have any? The medicine spirit took a selection of ingredients and began refining them. After a short time, he finished and handed over a pill. Done, he said. Here's the pill. The medicine spirit continued, Sir's pouch can be exchanged for a 9-cycle rejuvenation pill. This pill can revive the dead, but Sir only has 1 pouch, so he can only exchange for 1 pill. Qing Yang decided to buy a pill, thinking he would offer more assistance with business next time. He felt lucky, as he was able to exchange a broken pouch for a pill that could revive the dead. An incredible profit. Qing Yang made a mental note to bring anything useless next time to see what else he could trade for. After purchasing the pill, he returned to the Flower Water Pavilion. As he entered, he reflected that although he had lost some of his belongings, he had gained 2 treasures, making it a worthwhile experience. He resolved to put his newly acquired items away and go investigate what the old lady at the brothel was up to. Rumor had it that another person had died that day, and he doubted the Flower Water House's business could continue under such circumstances. Suddenly, someone placed a sword against his neck from behind. It was Ning Yuan. She questioned him about the whereabouts of the person who had been chasing him. Qing Yang responded with a hint of surprise, asking what is she doing here. Ning Yuan replied that his demonic aura was exceptionally strong, indicating her awareness of something dark and powerful within him. Qing Yang explained to Ning Yuan that the demonic aura she sensed was likely a residue from his recent battle with a criminal, apologizing for causing her discomfort. Internally, he was relieved, thinking it was fortunate he had put on the demon-suppressing chain, which likely concealed his true aura. Ning Yuan withdrew her sword, skeptical, and questioned him again. He confirmed, saying yes. Still doubtful, she noted that the aura she sensed was typical of someone in the early stage of vein condensation, which was surprising for a low-level mission involving a demon above the Foundation establishment level. She then instructed Qing Yang to accompany her to speak with the owner of the Flowery Waterhouse. She also mentioned that she would report the situation to the Grand Pavilion and request an extension on the mission deadline. Hearing this, Qing Yang's eyes lit up with excitement, and he asked if she was serious. Ning Yuan told him to stop wasting time and follow her. They arrived at Liang He's room, where Ning Yuan questioned her about the appearance of the criminal. Liang He described the attacker as a faceless figure, with only a black void where the face should be, leading her to conclude that it was a demon. Ning Yuan then asked if the demon had attacked while she was engaged in intercourse, to which Liang He confirmed with a yes. Ning Yuan explained to the group that during intercourse, a man's kidney and yang energy reach their peak. She elaborated that this energy state makes it particularly ideal for demons or devil cultivators, as they can harvest this energy for their cultivation purposes. Qing Yang, visibly flustered and blushing, acknowledged her explanation by responding, "Indeed, I see." Madam, now in tears, confessed her regret. She explained that she initially thought Liang He would be safe after switching rooms, so she had allowed her to take on a client. With remorse, Madam admitted, "I was blinded by greed and ruined everything." She lamented that now, after another death had occurred, the Flower Water House could no longer operate in Zuoyao. Ning Yuan asked Madame if there were any other establishments similar to the Flower Water House within 100 miles where men could participate in such intimate activities. Madame shook her head and replied, "No, there aren't." She added that she had thought this young lady was also a mastery, hinting at Ning Yuan's advanced understanding. Ning Yuan responded decisively, "Very well, the perpetrator will return, but he will likely lie low for a few days." She then informed Madame of her plan. She and her junior would stay in the area for a month. During this period, Ning Yuan would disguise herself as a courtesan, while her junior would take on the role of a client to avoid suspicion. Qing Yang, caught off guard, stared at her with a stunned expression and blurted out, "What?" Ning Yuan looked at him calmly and asked if he had any objections, addressing him as her junior brother. Qing Yang quickly shook his head and responded, No, I will do as you say, senior sister," showing his reluctant agreement to the plan. Ning Yuan then turned to Madam and requested, "Please give me a pseudonym to complete her disguise." She clarified that during this period, she would pretend to be a courtesan in order to avoid attracting any unnecessary attention. Madam expressed that she couldn't lower herself to the level of a courtesan, fearing it would shorten her lifespan. Ning Yuan assured her that he was only fulfilling his duty to exorcise demons and advised her not to overthink it. Ning Yuan then told his junior brother, Qing Yang, that he would live with him from that moment onward. Shocked, Qing Yang replied, "What, me?" As Qing Yang was leaving, he nervously asked Ning Yuan, his senior sister, if living with her would put him in danger of losing his kidney. Crying to himself, Qing Yang thought he could transform into his dog form at night. He feared that if he didn't eliminate the criminal, he would likely die first. The next day, standing by the lake, Qing Yang reflected on his studies. He had finished reading the fourth chapter of Universal Law's base technique and found it not as difficult as he had anticipated. Determined to advance his cultivation, Qingyang resolved to become stronger before facing the criminal again and vowed not to let him escape next time. He was appalled by the audacity of someone attempting to steal kidneys right in front of him. His readings explained how to open the Qi Sea and direct spiritual power from within to the outside world. Qingyang learned the importance of listening in all directions and maintaining an undisturbed mind. He discovered that spiritual energy was as thin as a thread and as light as a cicada's wing, making it challenging to grasp. After a few days of practice, Qingyang felt that he could finally connect fully with this energy. Ning Yiyuan was observing Qingyang from a distance, noticing his behavior. She remarked to herself that ever since the day he challenged her, Qingyang seemed to have changed. Ning Yiyuan recalled what Qingyang had boldly declared. "Senior sister Ning, from now on, I will also cultivate in the sky realm. I will defeat you in the grand competition and make you my wife." Puzzled, Yiyuan thought to herself, "I didn't meet him 2 years ago, so why did he want to marry me as soon as he arrived at the mountain?" In the evening, both of them were cultivating. Ning Yiyuan noticed the setting sun and remarked on it. She reflected on how she had heard from others that Qingyang often skipped classes and wasn't serious about his training at Liushi Peak. However, what she witnessed that day was very different from the rumors. While cultivating, Qingyang thought to himself that his body felt like a sponge. He believed that if he kept training at this pace, he would likely break through to the transformation realm in less than a month. He marveled at his own physique, amazed by its potential. Laughing loudly, Qingyang thought about how his rapid progress would shock his classmates. He was confident they would be scared by his improvement, declaring to himself that he would outdo them all. Later that night, in their living place, Qingyang felt uneasy. He thought to himself, afraid that he might turn into a dog that night. He worried about an illness that needed to be cured, fearing that he might die if it wasn't addressed. Noticing that Ning Yiyuan had returned, Qingyang greeted her, saying, "Senior sister Ning, you are back." He then asked her what she had done that day and invited her to have some tea first. Ning Yiyuan revealed that she had observed him all day. After sunset, she had gone to the city to investigate further. Surprised, Qingyang asked, "Observe me all day," and thought to himself that he hadn't noticed it at all. Ning Yiyuan mentioned that when she entered the inn yesterday, she sensed a faint demonic aura. However, she noted that the demonic aura was no longer present today. Qingyang thought to himself that she must have sensed his demonic aura the previous day. After he put on the demon suppression chain, the aura was suppressed, making it undetectable to her. He began to wonder if Ning Yiyuan might already know his true identity. Yiyuan speculated aloud that the aura she sensed could have been the lingering presence of a demon. This led her to decide to visit the city in search of any remaining traces of the demonic aura to find clues. She then stated that it was late and time to prepare for a bath and rest. Qingyang, feeling awkward, told her that since he was a man, they shouldn't share a room. He expressed concern about how uncomfortable it would be for her to bathe while he was present. Ning Yiyuan reminded him of his previous claim, where he had said he would defeat her and make her his wife. She questioned why he was acting so reserved now. Embarrassed, Qingyang explained that he had been young and impulsive at the time, speaking nonsense. He pleaded with her not to take his words seriously. Yiyuan murmured in response, acknowledging his claim as nonsense. However, she teased him further, asking what he would do if she insisted that he help her bathe that night. Qingyang's face turned red with embarrassment. Yiyuan then began undressing and instructed him, saying, "Junior brother, please fetch some hot water for me." After some time, Qingyang prepared the bath by filling the tub with hot water. While Ning Yiyuan was undressing behind the curtain, Qingyang busied himself with his thoughts. Ning Yiyuan then entered the hot water tub. Qingyang, internally panicking, thought to himself, "Please don't turn into a dog. This woman is so unpredictable. One wrong move, and I could end up as dinner tonight." Breaking the silence, Ning Yiyuan asked Qingyang what he had been learning in the outer sect. Qingyang responded, explaining that the outer sect didn't teach much. Yiyuan acknowledged his statement and asked if he wanted to learn more, offering to teach him herself. Nervously, Qingyang, while sneaking a peek, pointed out that sect rules forbid private instruction of techniques. Yiwan, catching him peeking, asked sharply, "Junior brother He, have you seen enough?" Embarrassed, Qingyang quickly apologized, admitting he got excited. Yiwan calmly replied, clarifying that she wasn't privately instructing him. Instead, she stated her intention to ensure that he wouldn't hold her back during the upcoming capture of the criminal in a few days. She asked if he understood her reasoning. Qingyang reassured senior sister, saying not to worry. He explained that if anyone asked, he would simply claim he learned it from the scriptures in the Sutra Pavilion. Yiwan responded, agreeing that it was the best solution. Qingyang then noticed something alarming, his tail. Realizing the situation, he thought to himself, "I knew I might transform tonight." Qingyang addressed senior sister Ning, stating that his stomach suddenly felt hungry. He decided to go out and get some noodles from a stall, advising her to continue soaking in the bath for a bit longer. Senior sister Ning reflected on this, thinking that despite being a cultivator for so many years, he still couldn't control his appetite. She sighed at the thought. Qingyang rushed outside in a panic, thinking to himself that he needed to hurry and run away. Noticing the changes in his body, he exclaimed, "Oh no, this transformation is too fast, isn't it?" During his transformation, he jumped onto a building to escape. While running, Qingyang realized that he needed to investigate the original owner's identity and figure out how to control the transformation. He feared that if he were caught by senior sister Ning, his otherworldly journey would come to an end. Suddenly, Qingyang noticed a fragrant smell in the air. Curious and captivated, he began searching for the source of the smell and finally found it. To his surprise, he discovered it was grilled fish. Qingyang encountered a beautiful girl walking toward him, accompanied by a giant cat that stared directly at him. The girl exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, it's a little dog." She then addressed him, saying, "Hey there, little dog, are you hungry?" Qingyang was puzzled, wondering who she was calling. He looked around but soon realized the truth. Pointing at himself, he said, "I forgot I transformed into a dog." The girl confirmed, "It's you, little dog." She continued, "So it's a pet dog. It's so late. Don't wander around. If you get lost, your owner will be sad." Qingyang thought to himself, "This little girl is quite gentle." The girl handed him a grilled fish and said, "Eat up. It's already cooked." Grateful, Qingyang began eating the grilled fish. Suddenly he noticed the giant cat speaking. The cat said, "Little brother, my owner's grilled fish is delicious, isn't it? I warn you, eat and leave quickly." While still eating, Qingyang retorted, "Hey little cat, are you afraid I'll compete with you for affection?" Qingyang then added confidently, "I'm so cute, you must be feeling threatened, right?" The cat grew angry and snapped back, "I'm a spirit beast. What are you? How could I feel threatened?" The two of them began staring at each other intensely. The fat cat and Qingyang began fighting fiercely. The girl, alarmed by the commotion, pleaded with them, saying, "Stop! Don't fight anymore." Suddenly, the girl lost her balance and started falling. As she fell, her clothing got caught on a branch, causing her to fall further and come out of her clothes. Qingyang, stunned, looked toward her in shock. Before he could react further, the cat punched him in the face and shouted, "Don't look!" Qingyang was in tears after being scratched by a cat. A girl noticed his distress and commented on her own carelessness. Qingyang looked at her in amazement, marveling at her beauty but also finding her unexpectedly harsh. She stood up, adjusted her cloak, and mentioned how fortunate it was that she had brought it along on such a cold night. As Qingyang's nose started bleeding, the girl noticed and addressed him, calling him "little dog" and asking why he was having a nosebleed. Embarrassed, Qingyang attributed it to a rush of blood, thinking it was a sign of his youthful vigor. The girl, showing concern, wiped his face and remarked that the dry weather often causes nosebleeds. She suggested he drink more hot water once he returned home. Meanwhile, the fat cat, clearly annoyed, interjected and accused Qingyang of having improper thoughts about its owner. The cat declared its ownership of the girl and warned Qingyang to abandon any such ideas. Qingyang, unfazed, questioned what the cat could possibly do about it. The girl sighed, reflecting aloud about her home life and wondering how things were back there. Her melancholy thoughts seemed to echo Qingyang's own frustrations, as he mentally dismissed his parents' lack of care for his feelings. Finally, Qingyang turned to the cat and asked, with curiosity, what exactly was wrong with its owner. The fat cat explained that the girl's parents, her master and madam, were forcing her into an arranged marriage with a young master from the beast-taming clan. Qingyang realized that the girl must be running away from the marriage and asked if that was the case. The cat confirmed it, describing the young master as extremely big and burly, someone who could crush a pig with his weight. However, the cat sighed and admitted that the girl couldn't truly escape since her parents could understand animal language and would eventually track her down. Suddenly, the girl noticed something moving behind her in the bushes. Qingyang recognized the figure and exclaimed, "Lord Yuehua." Ning Yiwan, the person in the bushes, thought to herself and identified Qingyang as the same dog she had encountered before. She remarked mentally that dog must have been wandering the mountains during his absence. Ning Yiwan resolved to leave her junior brother out in the cold that night. The girl turned to Ning Yiwan and asked her who she was. Ning Yiwan replied that when asking for someone's name, it's polite to introduce oneself first. The girl introduced herself as Qin Lianxin from the Qin Beast Taming clan, explaining that she was traveling with her spirit pets. She then asked for Ning Yiwan's name in return. Ning Yiwan introduced herself as someone from the Great Sky Realm, Liuxi Peak, and gave her name. Qin Lianxin was shocked, recognizing him as Lord Yuehua, and expressed her excitement at meeting her in person. Qingyang, observing her reaction, wondered if she was a fangirl. Qin Lianxin confessed that she had admired Ning Yiwan, Lord Yuehua, for a long time and eagerly asked if she could get his autograph. Ning Yiwan commented that Qingyang was very cute and likely received many gifts from girls, playfully teasing him. Ning Yiwan put a collar and rope around Qingyang's neck, treating him like her pet. Ning Yiwan mentioned that she had sensed a demonic energy nearby, which prompted her to patrol the area. However, realizing the energy was coming from Qin Lianxin's spirit beast, she assured her that it was not a problem. Ning Yiwan stated that she knew the dog, Qingyang, and would take him with her. Qin Lianxin, noticing that Ning Yiwan was about to leave, asked if she was going somewhere. Ning Yiwan replied that she was staying nearby at a place called the Flower Water House. Qin Lianxin immediately declared that she would accompany her as well. After settling Qin Lianxin, Ning Yiwan returned to her room, carrying He Qingyang, who was in his dog form. Qingyang, feeling distressed, thought to himself while crying that he was about to be petted again. Ning Yiwan remarked that since Qingyang was present, she wouldn't allow junior brother He to disturb them that night. She added that she didn't think the demon thief would make an appearance that evening, and junior brother He would likely remain safe until the following morning. Hearing this, Qingyang couldn't help but think, "Am I worse than a dog?" Ning Yiwan complimented him, noting how soft his fur felt and how nice he smelled, unlike a typical stinky dog. Qingyang, uncomfortable with her comments, thought to himself, "This is a bit perverted." Ning Yiwan then offered to carry him to bed. She locked the door and informed him that she had also secured the windows, ensuring that junior brother He would know what to do upon returning. Qingyang, now increasingly anxious, wondered in fear, "What the hell? If I turn back into a human in the morning, what will I do?" His panic deepened as he imagined an awkward scenario, questioning, "Why the hell are you naked? And in front of so many people?" At the same time, he silently resolved, "I don't want to die while crying." Ning Yiwan placed him gently on the bed. Qingyang, feeling something soft, couldn't help but comment, "So soft." He also noted how pleasant Ning Yiwan smelled, but suddenly stopped himself thinking, "Wait, what am I doing?" Finally, Ning Yiwan seemed to notice something. Ning Yiyuan looked at He Qingyang in his dog form and remarked that she had initially thought he was just an abandoned little dog. However, she quickly realized he behaved like other dogs, enjoying things like licking people. He Qingyang, still in his canine state, panicked internally. He realized he had been drawn to Ning Yiwan's powerful spiritual aura and had acted impulsively. Thankfully, he was currently a dog, or else his actions might have led to serious consequences, possibly even death. The mere thought of her discovering his true identity one day terrified him. He couldn't begin to imagine what would happen if she found out he was actually the dog she'd been doting on. As Ning Yiwan interacted with him, Qingyang felt something soft in front of his face. Trying to rationalize the situation, he thought to himself, what bad intentions could a little dog like me possibly have? Besides, with her possessing a jade spiritual physique, even demons and devils wouldn't be able to resist getting close to her. Even ordinary cultivators would find it difficult. Qingyang convinced himself he was the victim, blaming her spiritual energy for drawing him into this awkward situation. In a moment of flustered emotion, he hugged Ning Yiwan while blushing and smiling, further confused by his own reactions. Ning Yiwan then said that she needed to give him a name. She wondered aloud what to call him, noting that names were usually reserved for spirit pets. Playfully she asked, "Woof, woof, do you want to be my spirit pet?" Qingyang, deep in thought, realized that agreeing to be her spirit pet could complicate things. If he accepted, how would he ever escape the mountain in the future? At the same time, Ning Yiyuan seemed to genuinely adore him in his dog form. Refusing her offer might disappoint her, which made his situation even more difficult to navigate. Ning Yiwan glanced down, her voice soft but firm. "I understand. You're still young and don't want to leave your parents too soon," she said. "It's okay. You can agree when you grow up. Becoming a spiritual pet means following the master for life, never seeing your parents again." Qingyang's thoughts churned. "From the way you're reacting, it seems you don't have a master." He observed her carefully. Ning Yiwan, cold and distant when dealing with people, seemed so different when interacting with animals. To them, her tone softened, her manner gentle. Senior sister Ning treats animals and humans completely differently, he thought. Ning Yiwan turned to him again, her tone regaining its usual sharpness. "Let's sleep. Tomorrow you need to teach junior brother He some techniques. I hope he learns quickly." Qingyang watched her as she spoke, still lost in his thoughts. Her gaze is always guarded when looking at people, he reflected. Maybe I'm overthinking. Suddenly, a terrible realization struck him. He stiffened, his thoughts racing. Wait, this is bad. I got distracted by her gentle demeanor. His eyes darted to the locked door. The door is locked, and I'm being held here. If I turn back into a naked man on her bed in the morning, I'm dead. Panic set in. He tried to calm himself only to remember, I can't break senior sister's techniques yet, and I can't get out of the room. His heart sank. Oh God, what kind of hellish joke is this? Despair washed over him as he clutched his head. Someone save me. Help. Wasn't I supposed to die by the sword half a year ago? He groaned internally. Forget half a year. My journey in this other world will end tomorrow morning, after a few hours. Qingyang was struggling to fall asleep. He glanced at Ning Yiwan, who was already soundly asleep, and reflected on the situation, deciding that he needed to take action. He got off the bed with a clear thought in his mind. There was only one thing left for him to do: dig a hole. Outside, Qingyang, currently in a dog state, was trying to dig a hole to escape. While digging, he thought to himself, in just another hour, I should be able to dig my way out. However, he suddenly felt someone's presence behind him. Turning around, he saw Ning Yiyan. She asked, "Woof woof, what are you doing?" Qingyang looked at her, tears welling up, and thought, how did she wake up? I tried so hard not to make too much noise. Now I can't explain this. Understanding his predicament, Ning Yiyan said, I get it. Do you need me to let you out? I will help. Qingyang nodded, thinking, is it really that simple? Ning Yiyan then used her technique to open the door and said, go. As soon as the door opened, Qingyang bolted outside at high speed. Ning Yiyan watched him go, thinking, it seems you've been holding it in for a long time. She then returned to her bedroom. Suddenly, Ning Yiyan noticed something unusual. Sensing a surge of demonic energy, she thought, there's demonic energy, and immediately rushed outside toward the source. Meanwhile, Qingyang, after escaping the boundaries of Zhaoyao County, sat behind a tree, panting. He sighed in relief and said, finally, I got out. However, he hesitated, thinking, if I transform back into a human now, it will be in the open. He added, still, this is better than being found dead in the morning. Qingyang decided to head to the demon market to get a change of clothes from the three Fox sisters. As he re-entered the city, he paused at the place he remembered as the entrance. I remember entering from here last time, he muttered. Where is the entrance gone? His mind flickered back to the fox demon's words. She had said, young master. Why are you asking such a question? We are all demons. We can naturally sense the demon market's presence. Your visit this time feels off. It's like you've forgotten many things, including the fact that the entrance to the demon market appears randomly. Qingyang frowned, piecing together her words. Miss Ding had also mentioned the demon market's unique nature. Although the human race and the demon race had superficially reconciled, there were still human cultivators who harbored deep hatred for demons. As such, the entrance to the demon market was never fixed in one location. It appeared randomly, though typically not far from its previous spot. Sighing, Qingyang murmured, I guess I'll have to search nearby. He began his search, scanning the surroundings for traces of demonic energy. Suddenly, he noticed a fox demon running away from something in a hurry. Curious, Qingyang followed her trail and saw her slip into what appeared to be a solid wall. Found it, he said under his breath, realization dawning upon him. The demon market's entrance. But just as he was about to step forward, he froze. A sense of familiarity prickled at his senses. His eyes widened as he recognized the approaching aura. Why is Senior Sister Ning's aura getting closer? Qingyang thought, his heart suddenly heavy with unease. Qingyang was in shock upon discovering that the figure he saw was indeed his senior sister. Hastily, he entered the demon market's entrance, exclaiming that he needed to escape. Meanwhile, Ning Yiyuan arrived at the same location and noticed that the demonic energy had suddenly disappeared. Suspicious, she deduced that there must be an entrance to the demon market nearby. Turning to leave, she muttered to herself in frustration, declaring that although the lucky beast escaped this time, she was determined to one day uncover the secrets of the demon market. In the demon realm, someone called out to Qingyang, addressing him as young master and inquiring about his activities for the day. The remark sparked laughter among those present. One person remarked that they didn't expect young Master He to also be so dashing. However, to everyone's astonishment, Qingyang found himself standing naked in the demon market, directly in front of a group of ladies. One of the women commented on how interesting young Master He was, while Qingyang, visibly embarrassed, hastily replied that he had something urgent to attend to. Internally, he was relieved that he had managed to reach the demon territory before transforming, as any further delay could have cost him his life. In his flustered state, Qingyang apologized to the ladies, saying he would speak with them later before hurriedly fleeing the scene. He eventually entered the fox demon's pavilion and called out to Miss Ding, pleading for her help. Qingyang approached Miss Ding for help, but as he entered the room, he noticed 3 fox sisters hiding behind the counter, visibly frightened. Their tension eased as they recognized him, and one of them exclaimed, "So it's you, young Master He." Qingyang, standing there awkwardly, explained, "Ladies, I suddenly transformed back into human form and have no clothes to change into." The fox sisters glanced at each other briefly before one of them used her technique to conjure a set of clothes for him. As the garments appeared on him, Qingyang remarked with a hint of admiration, "Impressive." Despite the casual exchange, Qingyang couldn't shake the thought. Why did they seem a bit tense just now? The smallest of the fox sisters, often called Little Fox, stepped forward and suggested, "Young master, he should go to the 100 Goods Hall in the demon market and get a spatial stone." Qingyang raised an eyebrow. "What is that?" Little Fox eagerly explained, "It's a magical item for storing things in an alternate space, as humans call it. Even low-level spatial stones can hold the contents of an entire room. Among humans, a low-tier spatial stone costs 10,000 top-grade spirit stones. But here, in our demon market, you only need to bring something human-made of slightly better quality, and you can exchange it for one. With it, you can store as many sets of clothes as you need while traveling." Understanding its usefulness, Qingyang nodded. "I see. I will bring enough items next time and ask around." He then glanced around and asked, "By the way, where is your big sister?" Little Fox replied, "Miss Ding had some matters to attend to." Qingyang spoke to the Little Fox sisters, "Please send my regards to her. I will come back to play with all 4 of you another day. I have other things to attend to now, so I will take my leave." The little fox girl responded, "Take care, young master he." As he was walking back, He Qingyang suddenly thought to himself, "Wait, just now senior sister Ning was likely chasing a certain demon who entered the demon market right next to me, wasn't she?" He wondered, "I wonder if she had left by now." He continued to think, "But if I exit from here, the entrance won't be in the same place as before, so I shouldn't run into her." Later that night, at the Flower Water Pavilion, He Qingyang knocked on a door and said, "Senior sister?" He paused and thought, "I need to make it convincing." When Ning Yixuan opened the door, He Qingyang immediately said, "Senior sister isn't asleep." Ning Yixuan looked at him and asked, "Didn't you go out for noodles? How did you end up having a change of clothes?" He Qingyang replied, "I ran into some thugs who were harassing a shop owner. I tried to mediate the issue, and when the thugs got angry, they smashed a bowl at me. The shopkeeper thanked me by lending these clothes to me. I will return them tomorrow." As he left, He Qingyang thought to himself, "Good thing I thought of an excuse before coming back." Ning Yichuan told He Qingyang, "Upholding justice is commendable. You don't have to sleep in this room tonight." He Qingyang asked her, "Won't this affect your plan to catch the demon?" Relieved, Qingyang thought to himself, "Phew, thank goodness." Ning Yixuan explained, "Earlier, a demon was scouting the area near the Flower Water House, but I injured it and it escaped in the chaos. I chased it through several alleys, but it slipped into the demon market." Qingyang was surprised. "What?" he asked. Ning Yichuan replied, What?" He clarified, "Scouting around the Flower Water House. Could it be the same demon that has been stealing people's kidneys?" He hesitated, thinking aloud, "But the timing isn't right, and I injured it before. Could it really be so bold again?" Ning Yixuan said, "Demons think differently from humans. Perhaps because it was injured by you, it decided to take a chance and come here to steal another kidney to use it to heal himself." She dismissed the matter, saying, "Anyways, it's so late already. Go to your bed." He Qingyang nodded and said, "Good night, senior sister." Later, standing on the balcony of his room, Qingyang pondered, "Why is that demon so fixated on the Flower Water House? Why even risk its own life to come here?" He continued to analyze. Logically speaking, it doesn't add up. And there's one more thing that doesn't make sense. Finally, he questioned internally, "Why is she so gentle with the dog but looks at me with disdain? Aren't I that dog?" He Qingyang sighed and expressed his thoughts, saying that if she treated him even 1/10 as well as she treated him in his dog form, perhaps he wouldn't have to die. He then noted that senior sister Ning didn't seem like someone who would respond to flattery. Finally, he decided to brush off the matter and suggested going to sleep, mentioning that he still had to train the next day. Qin Lianxin expressed her desire to join the group, saying that she wanted to train with them as well. Ning Yuan responded, explaining to Miss Qin that the Beast Tamer clan and the Grand Sky Realm were different and practiced distinct skills. Qin Lianxin apologized, admitting that she didn't think much about the differences and was simply excited to meet Lord Yuhua. She then added that she wouldn't watch their training and would instead wait for them to return for a meal. Ning Yuan thanked her for her understanding. Later, near the river, Ning Yuan asked junior brother He about his current cultivation level. Qingyang admitted that he had only recently broken through to the peak of the qi refining stage, finding it somewhat embarrassing. He explained that he had neglected his cultivation earlier and thought that since starfire and qi refining exhibited the same external energy, claiming to be at the peak of qi refining would prevent Ning Yuan from suspecting anything. Ning Yuan explained that today's lesson could be learned by anyone who had entered the first realm of qi refining. She asked junior brother He if he could step on the water and reach the other side. Yuan mentioned that this lesson had been taught in their main class before. He Qingyang admitted, somewhat ashamed, that he couldn't do it because he hadn't attended the main classes properly in the past. Qingyang wondered to himself if Yuan was about to teach him the lightness skill. Ning Yuan assured him and said she would demonstrate once, instructing him to watch closely. She introduced the lesson as the first form of cloud steps, called Light Boat on the Lake, explaining that mastering it would provide the foundation to learn wandering floating clouds. She began her explanation by advising to gather energy at the soles of the feet and imagine the feet as two flat boats with energy as the water flowing beneath them. Yuan emphasized the need to control this flow and create a stable cushion of energy under the feet. Qingyang watched her demonstration with shining eyes, captivated by her skill. Yuan continued, instructing to push the energy out from the body like a leaf on water, rising and falling with the waves. She explained that the body should move like the leaf, following the flow of energy. Qingyang thought to himself that the original owner's body seemed to have a much faster comprehension of cultivation, realizing that, with her brief explanation, he should be able to grasp the essence immediately. Ning Yuan reminded Qingyang to keep everything relaxed and natural. She explained that water is the softest substance, yet it can penetrate stones. She emphasized that the body must flow like water, as this allows one to float on it. Ning Yuan observed Qingyang as he attempted to stand on water. Surprised by his progress, Qingyang exclaimed, praising her teaching as excellent. However, Ning Yuan questioned him, asking if he had already learned this technique before. She expressed doubt, saying, "You knew it before. Why did you lie to me?" Confused, Qingyang asked what was wrong. As he looked down, he suddenly realized he was actually standing on water. In shock, he blurted out, "Nani?" Curious, Yuan asked what he had just said. Qingyang quickly dismissed it, explaining that Nani was just an expression from his hometown to show shock. He reassured her that he truly didn't know how to do it before and wasn't lying. Qingyang admitted he didn't expect to succeed on the first try, even when following her instructions. Inwardly, Qingyang thought to himself how the body he now inhabited seemed to instinctively understand and learn techniques immediately. This realization puzzled him because the body had appeared incompetent for the past 2 years. He blamed the planners for the poor setup, thinking they were lousy at their job. Meanwhile, Ning Yuan reflected on how it had taken her 7 days to understand the light boat on the lake concept. Yet Qingyang mastered it instantly. She felt that even calling him a genius didn't do justice to his ability. Qingyang, on the other hand, wondered if Ning Yuan might be thinking the same thing about him, sharing his amazement at the situation. Qingyang admitted to Ning Yuan that his success might have been a fluke and that he would need a lot more practice to become proficient. Ning Yuan encouraged him to keep practicing there while she returned to the inn. As she left, Ning Yuan thought about how exceptional Qingyang's talent was. She resolved that such a cultivation prodigy must be reported to her master immediately so that Qingyang could be transferred to Liushi Peak as an inner disciple. Standing on her sword, Ning Yuan took off into the sky and began flying. Qingyang bid her farewell, calling out, "Goodbye, senior sister." As she ascended, she splashed river water onto Qingyang, who remained standing there. Watching her leave, Qingyang reflected that his previous estimate about his progress might have been wrong. He speculated that at his current rate, he could break through to the transformation realm within 5 days. Returning to land, Qingyang began to wonder if there was an artifact that could conceal his energy. He resolved to find an opportunity that night to visit the demon market again, believing that precautions were better than curses. Meanwhile, back at the flower water house in her room, Ning Yuan retrieved a token to contact her master. When her master responded, she asked her warmly, "My good disciple, what do you need from your master?" Ning Yuan explained her thoughts, saying, "Master, you and the Peak Master of Liushi Peak are fellow disciples. It shouldn't be hard to request an outer disciple from her, right?" The master asked Ning Yuan, whom she had in mind, assuring her that it wouldn't be a problem. Ning Yuan replied that she was referring to the outer disciple from Liushi Peak, named He Qingyang. Hearing the name, the master repeated, "He Qingyang," and then thought to himself that she recognized the boy. She recalled reading some anecdotes about Ning Yuan and He Qingyang in the records of strange events, which she found to be quite an entertaining read. Ning Yuan advised her master to read fewer trivial things, pointing out that it wasn't good for her. The master laughed and defended her reading choice, saying it was a good read and even recommending Ning Yuan take a look at it herself. She teased her, commenting on how taciturn she was and asking when she would ever find a Dao companion. In response, Ning Yuan retorted that her master wasn't much better off, reminding him that her Dao companion had left her. The master, slightly deflecting, said she needed to discuss some matters with the sect leader and suggested leaving the topic at that. Frustrated, Ning Yuan exclaimed, "Wait, hey!" but ultimately sighed in resignation. Half a month had passed in the blink of an eye, and nothing had happened at the Flower Waterhouse. Customers began returning as usual. The owner of Flower Waterhouse, Madam, could be seen inviting customers, saying, "Please come inside, oh please come inside." She seemed relieved, thinking, thanks to the three immortal masters, the business was finally back to normal. On the top floor of Flower Waterhouse, Ning Yuan mentioned that the demon criminal had been seriously injured by her last time. She speculated that after half a month of recuperation, it should now be nearly recovered. She then emphasized that tonight was the anniversary of the demon's previous crime, so they needed to remain vigilant and not be careless. Li Qingyang asked her senior sister why the demon was so obsessed with the Flower Water House. As a member of the demon clan, the creature could roam anywhere. Li Qingyang pointed out that just 10 miles away in Xiang County, there was a larger county town with a brothel. He questioned why the demon repeatedly took the risk of returning here. Ning Yuan responded that the demon must have some connection to the Flower Water House. She explained that once they captured it, the truth would eventually come to light. Suddenly, a fat cat leaped out from behind and landed in front of them with a meow. Qin Lion Xin noticed this and remarked that the bell had detected demon energy. She continued to explain that the demon was extremely cautious and carried some artifact to suppress its demonic energy. Its presence was so faint that it disappeared almost instantly. Ning Yuan questioned the situation, asking about the possibility of the demon suppressing its demonic energy. Meanwhile, Li Qingyang wondered to himself, "It shouldn't be me, right? Even after all these days, no one has detected any demonic energy on me." He continued analyzing, suggesting that the demon must have blended into the crowd. With only a faint trace of demonic energy and so many people gathered downstairs, it was nearly impossible to pinpoint its exact location. Qin Lion Xin expressed concern, stating that they could not alarm the crowd and risk causing further trouble. Ning Yuan reassured them, saying there was no need to worry. She explained that once the demon made a move, its demonic energy would surge, making it easy to locate. They would only need a moment to handle it and finish the matter. Hearing this, Li Qingyang became very frightened. Among the crowd, Lianga approached someone and said, "Sir, you've had too much to drink. Let me take you upstairs to rest," while Li Qingyang watched them from afar. Li Qingyang reflected aloud, saying it seemed like he hadn't seen Lianga for a few days. He remembered the madam mentioning that she had been recovering outside the city and sighed as he noted that she was back to work immediately after recovering. He mused further, reciting a poetic thought. Spring breeze does not understand illness. Red flower guests arrive, laughter turns to tears. Life is like duckweed, bitter and easily drifting. A sickly smiling face is also hard to maintain. Ning Yuan, hearing this, asked Li Qingyang if he could write poems too. Li Qingyang replied simply, "Just made it up." The customer expressed, "My dear Lianga, I missed you so much." They added, "Thankfully the issue at Flower Waterhouse was resolved, or I would have worried myself sick thinking of you." He Qingyang questioned, "Is worried sick used like that?" The customer requested, "Sing me a song later, my favorite 18 touches." Lianga responded, "You are so naughty." He Qingyang observed them from a distance. The customer remarked, "I'm naughty and you are like my naughtiness, don't you, Lianga?" Lianga glanced at He Qingyang while moving forward. He Qingyang watched them enter the Flower Water House. Qingyang thought, "Why does Lianga's energy feel different from before, and why do I have a sense of familiarity? Maybe it's just from staying here too long." He Qingyang then said, "Speaking of which, senior sister, if that demon knows we are stationed here but still dares to come, could it be that it won't use demon techniques to kill? It could simply knock out a man and use a knife to cut out his kidney, couldn't it?" Ning Xuan asked, "What do you mean by cutting a kidney the old-fashioned way?" He Qingyang explained, "Just using a knife, no magic. In that case, there wouldn't be any demon energy to reveal it." Ning Xuan realized that if the demon planned to act that night, searching room by room in such a crowded environment would be futile. She acknowledged the demon's cleverness in choosing a busy time to strike, as it made detection significantly harder. He Qingyang reflected on the situation, stating that the most dangerous place is often the safest. He speculated that for the demon, killing someone and taking a kidney right under their noses would be an even greater thrill. As He Qingyang pondered, he identified a sense of familiarity, but hoped he was just overthinking. However, an instinctive urge to act overcame him. When Ning Xuan asked him what was wrong, he didn't respond directly, but suddenly bolted towards Liang Er's room. He broke down the door and rushed inside, startling Liang Er. Inside, He Qingyang saw Liang Er sitting on the floor, holding a blood-stained knife. Liang Er, shocked by his presence, addressed him nervously, saying, "Master He, you are still here." At that moment, a stone hit Liang Er's hand, causing her to drop the knife. He Qingyang saw that Ning Xuan had thrown the stone. Liang Er, now frightened, addressed He Qingyang again, but was unable to explain herself. Overwhelmed by fear, she jumped out of the window and began to run. He Qingyang called out to her, urging her to stop, while Ning Xuan chased after her, yelling for her to halt. In the midst of this, He Qingyang pulled a pill from his pouch and administered it to an unconscious man nearby. He expressed his frustration, stating that while he didn't care if Liang Er died, he couldn't allow her to take another life. After ensuring the man's survival with the pill, He Qingyang remarked to the unconscious figure, "Consider yourself lucky." Liang Er was running, panting heavily as she tried to escape. Behind her, Ning Xuan and Qin Liangxin pursued her relentlessly. While chasing, Ning Xuan called out, "Where do you think you are going?" As they continued, Ning Xuan instructed Qin Liangxin, "Miss Qin, cut off her escape. I will block her ahead." Qin Liangxin responded with a determined, "Got it." Ning Xuan leaped into the air and landed in front of Liang Er, effectively cutting off her path. She confronted Liang Er and said firmly, "Demon, do you think you can escape from me again?" Liang Er froze in shock, unable to respond. Ning Xuan declared, "You have nowhere to run." Qin Liangxin suddenly throws her spirit beast into the sky and declares, "Where can you escape now?" Everyone looks up and sees the spirit beast transforming into a giant tiger. Liang Er, watching the transformation, becomes scared as the spirit beast starts roaring loudly. Qin Liangxin, seeing her spirit beast, exclaims in admiration, "So handsome." At that moment, He Qingyang rushes towards them and calls out to Ning Yiwan, "Senior Sister Ning, wait." He stops in front of Yiwan and repeatedly says, "Wait, wait, wait." He insists they first uncover the reason behind why Liang Er is taking human kidneys. Qingyang, however, silently thinks to himself that he cannot recognize Liang Er as Miss Ding at that moment. Otherwise, it would become difficult to explain his relationship with her to Senior Sister Ning. Liang Er stands silently throughout the confrontation. Ning Yiwan questions her, asking, "Why do you specifically go to Flower Waterhouse to take human kidneys?" She then inquires, "Where is Liang Er?" Yet again, Liang Er remains silent. Finally, Ning Yiwan declares, "It doesn't matter if you don't say anything. As long as I know you killed dozens of people, it is enough for me to act on behalf of justice." Liang Er questioned Ning Yiwan, saying, "Act on behalf of justice?" She continued, "Young lady, just because you are human, you think the heavenly Tao stands on your side and other sides should die. Is that right?" She then elaborated, asking, "Are there not enough human cultivators who kill demons for no reason? What kind of justice is this?" Ning Yiwan responded, "But you killed people." Liang Er defended herself, saying, "Because those men deserve to die." At this moment, He Qingyang stepped forward and said, "Senior Sister Ning, this is my task. Let me complete it." Ning Yiwan, however, replied, "This demon's realm is above yours. Can you handle it?" Qingyang, with determined eyes, answered, "Yes." Ning Yiwan then said, "I will be watching." Qingyang turned to Liang Er and asked, "Young lady, can you tell me why you are killing people?" Liang Er, in her thoughts, considered the situation. She thought, "Young master, he is now the junior brother of the female cultivator, so he probably doesn't want to expose his identity." She also reflected, "The He family is benefactors of our Fox clan. I can't put him at a disadvantage." While thinking, Liang Er transformed into her real form. In her fox demon form, she said, "2 years ago, I saved a scholar in Zuyao County." He Qingyang, observing this, thought to himself, "I can almost guess the story." The fox demon began narrating her story. She explained, I saved him from bandits and gave him gold and silver treasures. She continued, he said he was going to the capital for the imperial exam. I admired his ambition and helped him. However, she revealed, a friend told me that he didn't study at all and instead spent all his time in brothels. He squandered all the money I gave him at brothels. The fox demon further explained, I went to Flower Water Inn to uncover the truth and saw him with Liang. When he realized he was exposed, he reported me to the Flying Dragon Mansion Division, claiming I was a demon trying to kill him. She added, the Flying Dragon Division followed his clues and found our clan. The fox demon recounted the tragedy, saying, they tortured and killed us. Thanks to a powerful person's help, I and my sister barely escaped. She lamented, but all my other clan members were massacred. They were so innocent. Filled with rage and sorrow, she declared, so I want to kill those filthy men. To make them die in disgrace, die without dignity. The fox demon concluded her story by saying, I have finished talking. I can't escape anyway. If you want to kill me, do it fast. At this point, her Qingyang turned to Ning Yuan and asked, what do you think, senior sister Ning? Ning Yuan responded, this is junior brother's task. It's up to you to decide and leave from there. Finally, Qin Lianxin also left the scene. He Qingyang expressed his gratitude to Miss Ding for concealing his identity. Miss Ding responded by thanking the young master. He but suddenly began collapsing. Qingyang caught her and addressed her as young lady. Miss Ding explained that the expert who had saved her and her three sisters belonged to young Master He's family. Qingyang thought to himself, realizing that it was no wonder Miss Ding considered the He family her benefactor. Miss Ding stated that her fate was in the hands of the young master. Qingyang remarked that letting her go would result in her encountering senior sister Ning again, who, with her way of handling things, would not forgive her. He added that there was only one way to save her. Miss Ding asked what that way was. Qingyang then asked if she would become his spirit pet. Later that night, the madam expressed her relief, saying how thankful she was that no one had died. She credited the immortal masters for their presence, explaining that without them, another incident would have forced them to close down and leave. Ning Yuan observed the situation, marveling at how the victim had lost so much blood, yet managed to survive, finding it truly incredible. At this moment, He Qingyang entered the scene and informed Ning Yuan, his senior sister, that he had completed the task. He then addressed the madam, assuring her that he had subdued the demon and that there would be no further incidents. Additionally, He Qingyang mentioned that he had already sent a servant to bring Liang upstairs, emphasizing that she was unharmed. The madam, overwhelmed with emotion, thanked the immortal master profusely, even through her tears. She added that she had prepared the reward money and promised to have someone fetch it immediately. Ning Yuan, curious about the situation, questioned He Qingyang, asking for clarification about the word subdued. Qingyang nodded in confirmation. Yuan then remarked that Qingyang had not killed the demon, commenting on his soft heart. In response, Qingyang explained that while the demon's hands were indeed stained with blood, it was the scholar's betrayal that had led her down that path. He further noted that the men who frequent brothels are not good people to begin with. Ning Yuan reflected on the situation, questioning the concept of an eye for an eye. She stated that if the scholar had betrayed the demon, she could have settled the matter directly with him instead of taking matters into her own hands. Yuan further remarked that even if the men were truly evil, it wasn't the demon's place to judge them. Curious, Yuan then asked Qingyang what he had done with the demon. Qingyang responded that he had taken her as his spirit pet. He elaborated, explaining that the demon would spend the rest of her life atoning for the sins she had committed. With the mission completed, Ning Yuan suggested that they return to the Sky Realm immediately to claim their points. Qingyang sighed in relief, thinking to himself that it was fortunate his senior sister didn't inquire further into the matter. The following day, Lianxin informed both Qingyang and Yuan that her parents were already aware of her whereabouts and that she needed to return home. She bid them farewell, adding a sniffled goodbye as she departed. Qingyang replied with a simple goodbye. Both Yuan and Qingyang watched Lianxin leave. Afterward, Ning Yuan told Qingyang that she had already informed the sect about the mission's completion and emphasized the need to return to the Sky Realm that night. Qing Yang agreed, though inwardly he reflected that his senior sister seemed colder toward him than before. He attributed this change in attitude to the incident with the Ding Min fox demon, but decided it didn't matter. He resolved to leave the Sky Realm once he finished 4 more tasks, thinking it was better to avoid her since she seemed distant anyway. The next day at the storage pavilion, Zheng Qingqing approached He Qingyang and mentioned that she had heard from other disciples about Qingyang returning with Lord Yuehua. Qingyang responded by acknowledging how quickly Zheng Qingqing gathered news. Zheng Qingqing proudly remarked that she was, after all, the editor-in-chief of the news. She then added that if Qingyang shared some news with her, she promised not to write anything bad. Zheng Qingqing continued by expressing her belief, saying that she thought differently from others. She mentioned that, in her opinion, Qin Shen and Lord Yuehua were not a good match. Furthermore, based on her observations, Zheng Qingqing noted that Lord Yuehua seemed to have no interest in Qin Shen, and she encouraged Qingyang by saying there was still a chance. Qingyang pointed out that Zheng Qingqing had said the same thing before. Zheng Qingqing appeared surprised and asked if she really did. She then confidently stated that her sharp eyes would have noticed if there was truly something between Qin Shen and Lord Yuehua, implying that there wasn't. Qingyang explained to Sister Zheng that Lord Yuehua had just completed her task and helped out along the way. Qingyang then reflected, recalling from the game that because NPCs kept pestering Ning Yuan, she eventually chose to be with Qin Shen. Qingyang wondered if Ning Yuan's emotional direction was influenced by the NPCs constantly pestering her, pushing her toward Qin Shen. Feeling frustrated, Qingyang blamed herself, thinking it was all her fault for skipping the game plot and regretting that she couldn't remember the details about Ning Yuan. Qingyang stated, "We are here." Zheng Qingqing reminded Qingyang to tell her if he recalled anything. Qingyang agreed and thought to himself, finally, some peace. Qingyang entered his dorm room and said, "So tired." Qingyang began to fall onto his bed. He felt something beneath him and was startled. Qingyang noticed and exclaimed, "What, it's a person." It turned out to be Liao Xin. Liao Xin said, "Junior brother He Qingyang, you are finally back." Qingyang asked, "Senior sister Liao, why are you on my bed?" Liao Xin explained that she had been waiting for him and fell asleep from exhaustion. She then asked, "Was your trip smooth, junior brother He?" Qingyang replied, "Senior sister Liao, please get off my bed and leave my room. If someone sees, they might misunderstand." Qingyang thought to himself that Qin Shen's admirer was too persistent. He reflected on how she had used seduction on him so many times and still wouldn't give up, wondering, will she not stop until she has sucked my vital essence dry? Liao Xin protested, asking, "Why are you so harsh to me? Where did I go wrong? I will change for good, okay?" Qingyang pushed her down. Liao Xin asked, "Junior brother, why?" Qingyang confronted senior sister Liao, expressing that he did not wish to waste any time with her. He straightforwardly stated that he was aware of her actions. Liao Xin, surprised and alarmed, questioned him, wondering what he knew while thinking to herself, does he really know? Qingyang paused for a moment in silence before smiling. He then reassured her, telling her not to be afraid. He acknowledged that he knew she had feelings for him, but explained that the timing was not right. In his thoughts, Qingyang wondered if she truly believed he would reveal her involvement with Qin Shen. He pondered whether she thought he would disclose that he was aware of Qin Shen's alliance with the demon clan. Ultimately, Qingyang decided that his intention was merely to scare her, not to expose her. Liao Xin expressed her annoyance, saying to junior brother He that he was so annoying and had scared her to death. She thought to herself that she believed this brat knew everything. Qingyang, feeling tired, told her that he needed to sleep and suggested they talk next time. Liao Xin protested, saying to junior brother He that she wasn't dressed yet. In response, Qingyang threw Liao Xin out of his room. Liao Xin became angry and cussed at him. Qingyang reflected on the situation, thinking that although he had rejected Liao Xin several times, she was still incredibly persistent. He concluded that Liao Xin and Qin Shen wouldn't stop until they obtained his vital essence. Finally, Qingyang remarked that Qin Shen had schemed against him first and warned not to blame him for taking all her opportunities. At Juyang Peak, Qingyang expressed that he couldn't remember exactly where the cave was in the game. The location where Qin Shen made deals with the demon clan was in a cave on Juyang Peak. However, it certainly wouldn't be in such a bustling forest. Qin Shen concealed his true nature, appearing honest and humble on the surface. In the game, he colluded with the Demon Lord, seizing every opportunity. Without these opportunities, it would have been impossible for him to become the top disciple of Liushi Peak. When playing the game, Qing Yang hadn't thought much about it. Now that he recalled it, the protagonist's plot armor was riddled with errors. He considered how lousy the game developers must have been, thinking they were brain-dead, tricking players into spending money. The most frustrating part for Qing Yang was that Liao Xin wanted to drain him, transferring his vital essence to this so-called side plot protagonist. At this point, a fox demon appeared and said, "Young Master He, there is a faint demonic presence." Qing Yang asked if the fox demon could locate it. The fox demon explained that fox demons are more sensitive to demonic presences than other demon clans and assured Qing Yang that he could find it. Qing Yang instructed the fox demon to take him there. The fox demon simply responded, "Follow me." Qing Yang and the fox demon started moving in a certain direction. As they moved, Qing Yang thought about the principle of the lightness technique he had learned from senior sister Yiwan. He realized he could adapt it to use branches as stepping stones, which he found very convenient. He also thought that if he could learn the wandering floating cloud technique, he wouldn't need any support to move around. The fox demon then said, "Young Master He, behind the waterfall up ahead." Qing Yang responded, "So the cave is behind the waterfall, indeed a perfect hiding spot." The fox demon advised, "Young Master, find a hidden spot. Let me go in first. If one demon shows up, they won't detect my presence." Qing Yang cautioned her, "Still, be careful." The fox demon replied, "For you, young master, I am willing to risk everything." She then entered the cave behind the waterfall. Qing Yang watched her enter and thought to himself that there truly was a cave behind the waterfall, though the demonic presence inside felt very faint. Inside the cave, the fox demon observed her surroundings and said, "Seems like it's empty." Qing Yang instructed her, "First, check if there's anything special inside the cave, like eating utensils, clothes, or anything." The fox demon replied, "Yes, master." The fox demon ventured deep within the cave and remarked, "This should be where Qin Shen made deals with the demon clan, but no one is here today." As she explored further, the fox demon noticed something unusual. Qing Yang asked, "What is it?" The fox demon responded, "Young master, I found something left behind by the demon clan." She continued, "I will bring it out now." Qing Yang replied, "All right." The fox demon picked up a mysterious box, and together they exited the cave. After some time, the two of them returned to Qing Yang's dormitory room. Both of them stared at the box, and Qing Yang deliberated, "Should we open it?" As soon as the box was opened, a beam of light filled the room. Qing Yang exclaimed, "What is this?" The fox demon was visibly shocked. She told her Qing Yang, "This is the demon lord's treasure." Qing Yang asked in disbelief, "What?" The fox demon identified the light as undying radiance. Qing Yang questioned, "Why does that sound familiar?" The fox demon explained, "This aura, I am too familiar with it." She added, "When I was young, the demon lord and the demon king had a sparring match. The demon lord used the power of undying radiance to almost completely defend against the demon king's attack." The fox demon expressed surprise at discovering such a treasure in a small cave within the sky realm that day. She addressed Qing Yang, stating that this was surely an opportunity meant for him. Qing Yang responded, noting that the artifact appeared to be nearly indestructible but must have certain usage restrictions. Qing Yang spent some time staring at the undying radiance of the artifact before closing the box. He then questioned how to use it, wondering if it required the recitation of some incantation. The fox demon admitted ignorance, explaining that she could only identify the nature of the artifact. Qing Yang, curious, asked how the fox demon knew so much about such things. The fox demon reminded him of her past as the owner of a shop in the demon market, where she had encountered countless elixirs and artifacts. She further elaborated that the fox demon clan had once been a major clan among demons and had witnessed many significant events. Qing Yang acknowledged the explanation, stating that he believed the fox demon. He declared that now that they possessed the artifact, it was theirs. He remarked that having another treasure couldn't hurt, and resolved to research ancient books to learn how to use the artifact. Finally, Qingyang wondered aloud why the demon lord would leave such an important item in that location. The fox demon mentioned that she didn't know much. She explained that when she went inside, apart from finding the box, she also discovered a pile of unidentified ashes. She continued saying that she had heard before about the demon lord being severely injured by the cultivators. She then speculated whether he might already be dead, and if those ashes could be his remains. Her Qingyang remarked that at this point, the demon lord likely wasn't dead yet, as there were still many side quests involving him later in the game. The fox demon asked him, "Young master, what are you muttering about?" Qingyang replied that it was nothing. However, Qingyang thought to himself that he needed to keep a close watch on Qin Shen. He decided it was best to catch him red-handed and uncover exactly what kind of deal he was making with the demon lord. Qingyang considered that a person who would eventually fall into demonic ways must have an unstable Dao heart, especially since he had altered some events. He wondered what Qin Shen might do next. Both He Qingyang and the fox demon noticed a knock on his window. The fox demon quickly said, "I will hide myself first." He Qingyang opened the window and saw a bird. The bird looked angry and had a letter with her. He Qingyang received a letter delivered by a bird and remarked that it was an invitation from his senior sister, Ning Yiwan. The letter instructed him to meet her immediately at Yungan Forest, located on Liuxi Peak. After reading the letter, Qingyang set off toward the forest. Yungan Forest was situated halfway up Liuxi Peak, known for its challenging path that deterred most visitors. Upon arriving at the designated location, Qingyang called out, "Senior Sister Ning." Ning Yiwan greeted him, acknowledging his arrival, and informed him that she would teach him the wandering floating cloud technique that day. Curious, Qingyang inquired why she was teaching him the second technique so soon. Ning Yiwan explained that she had a mission to undertake down the mountain the following day. She mentioned that the mission would take at least half a month, or possibly even longer. Qingyang, intrigued, speculated if the mission involved eliminating a demon clan. Ning Yiwan, noticing his interest, questioned why he seemed so fascinated by her missions. Qingyang responded that with his current abilities, he could only handle common-level missions. He added that by the time he reached the fifth realm, his senior sister would likely have already advanced to the immortal realm. Hearing this, Ning Yiwan thought to herself that Qingyang certainly had a silver tongue. He Qingyang pondered, wondering why it felt like his senior sister Ning Yiwan seemed disappointed. He questioned if she wanted him to accompany her. Ning Yiwan then addressed him, stating that as before, she would demonstrate the technique once and that he needed to comprehend it on his own. She added that she still needed to bid farewell to the mastery later and did not have time to guide him. Qingyang acknowledged her words with a nod and said, "Yes." Ning Yiwan explained that the technique did not rely solely on physical strength. Instead, one must learn to leverage the air between heaven and earth. She emphasized that their bodies should not forcibly break through the air, but instead blend with it, becoming part of the drift. She described the technique as being like floating clouds, unrestrained and unattached. She elaborated further, saying that when the body and mind are unified and one loses oneself in heaven and earth, they will find the air beneath their feet as solid as the ground, while feeling as light as a cloud. Ning Yiwan concluded by naming the technique Wandering Floating Cloud. After her explanation, Ning Yiwan asked Qingyang if he had memorized the details. Qingyang replied that he believed he had remembered everything. A fox demon then commented, addressing Qingyang as "Young Master He," and claimed that it had also learned the technique. The fox demon then speculated about Lord Yuehua, noting that she had no obligation to teach Qingyang these techniques. It wondered if this could mean Lord Yuehua had feelings for him, but also observed that her eyes showed no hint of romance. The demon questioned if it was merely mutual admiration between geniuses. Ning Yiwan informed Qingyang that her mission this time was in Spring City. After saying this, she left while Qingyang stood watching her as she departed. Suddenly, a fox demon appeared and addressed Qingyang, exclaiming, "Oh, my young master!" The fox demon remarked that Lord Yuehua had specifically told Qingyang the location of her mission. It then teased him, suggesting that he shouldn't be too obvious and questioning if Lord Yuehua wanted Qingyang to find her. Qingyang responded enthusiastically, saying that it was perfect as he was eager to take on his second mission. The fox demon clarified that its statement had been misunderstood, saying, "That's not what I meant." Qingyang acknowledged the comment, saying, "I know what you mean." However, he added that at the moment he only had respect for his senior sister. Qingyang reflected inwardly, thinking that Ning Yuan was, after all, the heroine of the silly NPC in the game. He then remarked aloud that the next day he would try his luck at the treasure pavilion to see if there was a suitable mission for him. He also expressed his desire to continue learning swordsmanship from Ning Yuan, praising her for teaching without reservation. The fox demon advised Qingyang to focus on mastering the lightness technique that Ning Yuan had just taught him, cautioning him against being too greedy. Qingyang expressed his excitement, remarking how easy the task was for him to master, claiming he remembered it after just one try. Qingyang then asked the fox demon how he was performing. The fox demon responded in amazement, exclaiming that Qingyang had mastered the task after just one lesson. She addressed Qingyang as young master and wondered what he was made of. Qingyang laughed confidently and proclaimed that he was an extraordinary gentleman. In response, the fox demon teasingly called Qingyang shameless. Qingyang, unbothered, remarked that the two of them were bound together for life, sharing a connection in heart and mind. He advised the fox demon to get used to this fact early. Qingyang then asked the fox demon to give him a score for his performance. The fox demon replied, 99, and added that giving one more point might make Qingyang overly proud. The next day at the mission hall, Qingyang discovered a task in Spring City and pondered aloud whether he should take it. He questioned if it was a mortal-level task and wondered why there wasn't an Earth-level task available. The elder responded, pointing out that Qingyang was already at the Foundation establishment stage and questioned why he was still doing Earth-level tasks. The elder teased him, asking if he wasn't afraid of being laughed at. Qingyang defended his decision by referencing the last case at the Flower Waterhouse, which was labeled as an Earth-level task. However, his senior sister Ning had said it was much more challenging. Despite this, he had only received 2 points in the end. In his thoughts, Qingyang decided he needed to visit the demon market to find an artifact capable of concealing his realm, as he didn't want to attract too much attention. Hearing Qingyang's plans, the elder cautioned him to lower his voice, warning that others might overhear their conversation. Qingyang realized the elder might have made an error, as he thought to himself that the old man had made a mistake. Qingyang then cleverly negotiated with the elder. He stated that if the task granted him 4 points, he wouldn't publicize the elder's mistake in assigning the task's level. However, if he didn't get 4 points, he would tell everyone that the Mission Pavilion elder was senile and that his misclassification of tasks endangered disciples' lives. The elder, in an attempt to silence Qingyang, placed his hand over Qingyang's mouth and reluctantly agreed, saying he would grant him an extra point. At the mission hall, other people began gossiping as they noticed Qingyang and the elder talking secretly. They wondered aloud, what are they both talking about, all secretive? Someone speculated, what else could it be? Bargaining, of course. Don't you see who that is? Another person chimed in, oh, it's that kid from Liushi Peak who always makes a fool of himself challenging Lord Yuehua. No wonder. Qingyang then addressed the elder, saying, troublesome work, but there's room for maneuver, right? Ha, it's settled then. The elder sighed and replied, forget it. I don't even know who sent that case over. It just appeared here out of nowhere. Why so unlucky? Qingyang, ignoring the elder's frustration, requested, then please, elder, put up the task card for me. The elder reluctantly agreed, saying, sure, sure. As Qingyang left the mission hall, he overheard someone nearby exclaim, hurry, senior brother Qin Shen is just ahead. Another voice added, no matter how fast we run, senior brother Qin won't notice us. He's always thinking about senior sister Ning. The whole sect knows it. Hearing this, Qingyang's expression turned angry as he muttered, Qin Shen. However, instead of feeling disheartened, Qingyang thought to himself, perfect timing. I have been wanting to observe this side quest protagonist these past few days. I will join in the fun too. Qingyang suddenly had a thought. Wait, does Qin Shen know that my blood essence greatly benefits cultivation? Could the demon lord have told him that too? He reflected further, thinking, but haven't I been targeted by the demon lord for a long time? However, Qingyang reasoned that the demon lord didn't seem to know his true identity. Otherwise, I would have been exposed as a demon spy in the sky realm long ago, he thought. His thoughts shifted to the missed opportunity. We just missed him in that cave. Where could he be hiding? As Qingyang moved forward, he noticed a commotion ahead. Listening closely, he heard the crowd exclaim, "Wow, it's really senior brother Qin Shen. I heard he completed a heaven-level task in just 3 days." Qingyang remarked, "Such fangirls. But now he's by senior Ning's side." Observing more closely, Qingyang noticed Ning Yuan and asked in surprise, "What? Senior sister Ning is here too. She hasn't left for her mission yet." Looking at her, Qingyang commented, "Senior sister is so cold." Facing that cold expression and still smiling, Qin Shen truly deserves to be the future master of the Demon Clan, Sky Realm's #1 playboy. At this point, the fox demon beside Qingyang spoke up, saying, "Young master, should I go and listen to what Ning Yuan and Qin Shen are talking about?" Qingyang replied with a warning, "There are so many cultivators here, aren't you afraid of being exposed?" The fox demon explained that the young master possessed the demon suppression chain, which not only suppressed demonic energy, but also its aura. It added that, as the young master's spirit pet, its presence could only be detected by those above the 7th realm, unless it chose to reveal itself. As far as the fox demon knew, only the sect leader and the head of the sky realm were at that level. Qingyang instructed the fox demon to stay alert and to return immediately if any problems arose. The fox demon agreed, replying with, "All right." Qin Shen addressed junior sister Ning, stating that the current task required her assistance. Ning Yuan responded, remarking on senior brother Qin's diligence. He had just completed a heaven-level task and had already taken on another one. She questioned whether he truly needed her help. Qin Shen replied that he was eager to break through to the 4th realm, the Golden Core, as soon as possible. To achieve this, he had taken on additional tasks. Meanwhile, the fox demon mused silently, finding Qin Shen's demeanor arrogant. It wondered why Qin Shen could not realize that Ning Yuan clearly did not wish to speak with him. Ning Yuan expressed her concern, hoping that senior brother Qin would survive the task and not lose his life in the process. Qin Shen thanked her for her concern, assuring her that with the combined efforts of Liuxi Peaks and Yonyang Peak, everything would be fine. Qin Shen reflected on how he never anticipated the usually cold and taciturn junior sister Ning to remind him to stay safe. He resolved that if he won the championship in the competition 6 months from now, junior sister Ning would definitely view him differently. Meanwhile, the fox demon, a woman, remarked that Qin Shen didn't stand a chance and decided to inform the young master, He Qingyang, as quickly as possible. The fox demon then told young master He that Miss Ning's task this time was to team up with Qin Shen. However, she also observed that Miss Ning didn't seem to like Qin Shen much. The fox demon further noted that Qin Shen couldn't distinguish between good and bad and seemed quite dim-witted. He Qingyang, deep in thought, considered the situation. He wondered what the NPC in the game might have done to Ning Yuan to push her toward Qin Shen. He also mocked the situation, thinking it was one idiot being defeated by another idiot. The fox demon then inquired of young master He about when they would set off. Qingyang explained that they had new teammates this time and would meet them at the foot of the mountain later. However, before that, he needed to buy a few things. At the Sky Realm Small Goods Market, Qingyang prepared himself and declared, "Sky Realm Small Goods Market, here I come." After shopping extensively across multiple shops, Qingyang reflected that he had purchased all discounted items and expired promotions, marveling at the sheer variety of human treasures he had acquired. Finally, Qingyang wondered how much of the good stuff he could exchange for at the demon market.